What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
Even more multi-way hands with the Prometheus solver. I will go first. All right. Fold, fold. Ace, queen raises. Easy raise. King deuce has to fold. Sixes here is a good fold, is a good three bet, and is an okay call if you're not getting a lot of raises from your big blind. It's perfectly fine to have a three bet or fold strategy from the small blind, and we've all said we're implementing that, but in reality, we don't. We kind of look at some of these hands and go, I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's
So it's fine
true.
to do it anyway. Um, and in this particular case, because he raised to two, because his raise is so small, makes it even easier. Let's look at this guy's stats. In 14 hands, he hasn't played a hand. So that doesn't tell us much about whether he's going to re-raise, but this does. The fact that he doesn't re-raise ace queen suited, which he absolutely could squeeze here. This would be a good squeeze.
It's an obligatory squeeze.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he should squeeze that. We'll look to see if it's obligatory. I think he should. But he doesn't, and that's what happens. All right. So on this board, this looks like a board that the big blind might have some donks on. And if he does, our first thing we're going to do in our notes is say that all the donks are small. The small blind on this, I don't think the small blind has donks on 553. If it did, sixes could donk, sixes could check raise, sixes can check call. Let's see what he does. He just goes for the check, and the ace queen. This is a good hand for ace queen to check. Just check it. But he bets small. This small bet, sixes can check raise, sixes can call. Both are fine. Sixes have the nice thing of also blocking 5-6, which is great. They're way behind all the other pairs, obviously, but the next card is going to be terrible for sixes. So the check raise ain't bad here. He goes for the check call. It's got to be right also. Ace queen of clubs with a backdoor flush, two overs, and a backdoor straight.
I don't think you get to
Backdoors,
fold.
backdoors are not very valuable, but but to this small size, I think you call. I maybe mixes. I don't know what I would do here, but he calls. All right, and he gets rewarded. Sixes, having taken this line, should check. Ace queen, having taken this line, should check. Ace queen, having taken this line, should check. And sixes should pray for a showdown. Check, check. This is not a good bluff. Check behind. Nobody's got an ace. You could in the ace queen position, you could say no one has a 5. They must be capped up till then. But 6-7 is also there. 6-7 probably bet out. So that's what happened. He wins. Let's take a look in the land of Prometheus for this. For this one in Prometheus, we can't actually run it. We have to put the ace queen in the hijack because the cutoff Prometheus doesn't allow it, but the range is enough that we still have our hand is still in it and all like that. So here we go. 5-3-5. You guys are in the way of the buttons. So here we see that on 5-5-3, my first mistake is, oh, wait a minute. Here we go. This is where we are. On 5-5-3, fold. Oh, here we go. We've just hit 5-5-3. I got to move this out of the way. Here, we're on the small blind. So on the small blind, we do have donks. I didn't think the small blind had donks. I thought the big blind does. And 6-6 is an okay donk. As we saw, that makes sense. I don't think we need to look at anything else on this if we want. But the important thing is he only has 25% bets. So my first hypothesis for Prometheus is when first act on flop has donks, they're always 25%. There is never any big betting on any board from the major out of position player, be it the big blind or the small blind. That's what I think we've never seen. Does anybody remember anything that denies this? Nope. Okay, good. So that's the
Yeah, I
first.
think that's right.
I think it is until the imposition player that we ever get big bets.
I don't think we've seen big donk sizing.
I don't think we have. Okay. So there we go. There's our check. After we check, this is one of those where the big blind has bets also when the small, usually we saw before what I thought was a rule that is not, which was if the small blind has donks and the big blind has check range, that's not true. So
So I
he's
think
got
this is
lots of,
telling us with this amount of dunking, what, 33% of range?
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing is that this is very much not advantage to big blind.
big blind big blind owns the fives and the other guys just don't. I mean, just owns the fives.
Mm.
He's got, in this configuration where you only raise to two big blinds, he's got offsuit fives like a tournament player would have.
Can you roll over one of the ace X, like ace seven or ace eight?
Offsuits,
No, the suited combo, like ace eight suited.
ace eight suited.
So he is only doing this to the back door.
You need a backdoor.
So,
And all the backdoors do it.
yeah.
Yep. In a month, when we're back to regular heads up pots, I'm going to start looking at when you have these rainbow flops, which back doors, like if it's the back door of the top card, the middle card, or the bottom card. There's a consistent rule there, and I don't know what it is. We're going to learn that next month. All right. So lots of donking from him. Ace queen, by the way. Yep, he never has ace queen suited. He is always 3-bet this away. But he has offsuit. And in the offsuit branch, he can go ahead and do it. He actually does it a ton. He really does. And his combo, which isn't here, the one that doesn't want to do it is heart diamond. Those are the ones that don't want to do it. So his clubs, since the ace of clubs does it and the queen of clubs does it, according to this, he should bet. And I said he shouldn't. So that was a mistake. And he checks, no surprise.
Well, I think the rainbow nature probably increases his docking frequency, and then obviously we know that he's got another advantage.
But given the fact that he donks all this, all these suited aces that are just, although as it gets bigger, he's doing it less. He's going reverse linear, so maybe by the time he gets to ace queen, in theory. So he doesn't. That's what we know. He doesn't. And now here with ace queen, I didn't love it. Solver doesn't love it. His combo, ace of spades, queen of diamonds, really doesn't like it. So yeah, I didn't like it. The ones that like it are the ace of hearts, mainly.
I wonder if ace king is a value bet given the SR the
Looks
reaction. I don't
Looks
know.
it. Yeah. All right. So, but he takes the bet, and now, oh, and he had no big bets on that board, right? This is a no big bet board, I believe.
It
we
had
saw.
a sprinkling of some in there.
Yeah, but I think we can disregard this. I would simplify this board and say that there are no big bets. But he bets small, and now sixes for the check raise. No. So just call. I'm wrong on that he could. And he does.
Here's where I thought you'd get check raises from the ace queen.
Yeah.
Right. And you
And
do.
is leveraging its not advantage here.
You really do. He's the ace queen there.
What size is it like? It likes to go to,
It likes 66%.
which translates to,
Well, I'll do it. Let's hit it. Let's hit that button. It wants to go. I wish it said the number there, but it wants to go to 8.
all right.
So that's 66% of the pot after he calls, right? So the pot was 6. He puts in another one that's 10.5. And then on top of that, he goes 6 more. So 66% of the pot after he has called is what this is what their 66% means. Okay.
You can always flip back and forth between big blinds and size of the pot down in the bottom left. Way down at the very bottom of the screen, there's displaying big blinds.
Oh, thank you. Let's do that all the time. Thank you.
I actually like the big blinds, but then sometimes I'm like in this situation, like, what is that exactly?
Right, but but this is how we have to do it, so I think I like this better. All right. So he is really in this node. His ace queen really likes to check raise. We don't know what the ace queen of clubs would do, but but we believe that it would be a check raise. And he check calls. Not the worst thing in the world, not the best thing. So there's his call. Okay. The turn is the 9 of clubs. Okay. So call. Well, oh, there it is. I was saying, where's my board? 9 of clubs. How long are you going to take? 30 seconds. All right. So
Here, I think the big is considered, right?
say again.
That you can stab here after it goes, checks around flop. Then small blind checks turn.
You're cutting out there.
Combo.
Yeah.
of ace queen suited, ace queen club, but if he does,
Larry, you're cutting out like crazy all of a sudden. You weren't before. Your mic was fine, but now your connection is shit. Or my connection is shit.
No, I'm getting a breakup too.
Okay.
how about, is it better now?
Now it's better. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
you're
I think he should, I think he should stab. I think he should construct a cheap bluff there. With the ace
you
queen
mean
of clubs, which he shouldn't have.
the hijack or the big
The
blind?
big blind in this case, I think had the ace queen of clubs.
He did. So you're saying now he
I'm
should.
saying now, yeah, so in reality, this seems like a good spot to generate folds multi-way. I
Right.
mean, it's very tough for me to find bluffs multi-way, but I think if there's any spot where you can use the ace queen of clubs here, it's this.
So it went check, bet, call, and now you want to go check and
Oh, sorry, yes. I
He
forgot
wasn't the
what I
better.
said. No, I
it was
forget
the ace-
everything I said.
Yeah, that's what that was our problem.
I'm on drugs. Forget it,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. So here we get here and our sixes now don't, once having taken this line, they don't all of a sudden bet out. I think I agree with that. And now this guy has, if he's going to play the call strategy, he doesn't. And if you'll notice, he has no hands. He just rarely calls this. So he's not going to be super accurate here, but he does check. And do we continue our bluff with our ace queen? It loves to continue with
I don't,
some
understand.
random
Yeah,
assortment hand. Like one
I
of
don't
the
think there's
two of the
any
ace of
pattern
cl-
here.
two of the ace of clubs do it, the other one doesn't. Two of the queen of clubs do it all the time, the other one doesn't. If you have nothing, you do it. Ugh. Ugh. And our guy had again the spade diamond version. So he doesn't do it for reasons I can't explain. Or not can't explain today. And he doesn't do it. So now who gets to wake up? On the river of 8 of spades. I don't think the sixes get to wake up and bet. I'm going to look forward to when we were heads up and we can understand some of the suitedness. Oh, you're compiling forever. All right, here we go. The sixes, now they do, so I was completely wrong. Look at the sixes wake up.
Yeah.
And they're value betting. These guys are value betting.
I assume the value bet is against getting called by ace high.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Cause I
Should
don't
we
think,
see if ace high calls?
yeah, yeah, let's play it out this way first. His most common bet size is this one, so he bets the 3.4 into it. This guy's gonna call him. He's getting called, yeah, he's not getting any folds from pairs. So he's getting called by sevens. So he's betting sixes for value because this guy's calling sixes here. Yep. He's getting money again. The fours call and he wins against this guy. And when he has sevens, he beats the guy's sixes. And when he has sixes and the guy calls with sevens, he loses. But this guy's going to fold. And now the river guy here, he is
does
stuck with
call with
calling
some
some aces. Yeah, he's got to call
SPX.
some aces. And he's going to call all of his underpairs. And he's going to call his ace three. So yeah, that's a straight up value bet. Which he does not make. Smattering of the ace queen bluffs, but he bets his pairs for value now. Doesn't bet all his sixes, even though the first guy did. But when he checks, should ace queen try and go for it? Nope, just hope. All right. So my big mistakes on this one were not bluffing ace queen suited pre-flop, which I thought, on the flop, just bluff out here that it did it all the time. I didn't see that coming. And I didn't value bet my sixes on the river. Do we have any disagreement with this based on population? Do we disagree with this solve? Anybody?
I would say it's tough to find an ace high hero here. Against a range where I don't anticipate that people are gonna bet their underpairs.
Okay, so that's an argument for not betting the sixes. Okay. Um, all right. Yeah, so maybe the sixes don't get called enough to be bet for value in the wild.
Yeah, my argument is that ace high hero is not gonna hero enough for sixes maybe to have. These are up with it.
Okay. Take a look at what happens when in solver land real quick though, when he bets small. And what do they have to do? When he bets this size, just tiny. This guy can't ace high hero, but he can bluff him.
Put it in a weighted strategy just so we can see.
So we can see what he's got. He never has these hands, but when he has them, he bluffs. Oh no, the ace nine. That's not a bluff. Sorry. He's got the 9 and the 8. His bluffs are 7-3, 6-3. That's no fun to be bluffed. There. He bets, this guy folds. And now this guy is faced with having to call every ace high against that size in solver land. And his common bluff is his jack 10. Probably because it blocks because it can't win on its own unimproved like an ace can. And it blocks a little bit of 10-9, jack 9.
What do you
10.
think about the raising of when you have an 8x here? Is that for value? It's like split between raising and calling.
I don't think it's a bluff.
If you click the EV button over there, does that show us anything?
Let's see, where's the EV button?
Far right.
Right here. Yep. We get to see the EVs. There you go. You wanted this is the thing you wanted, Larry, that we haven't looked at. It is available.
Okay.
So the EV of raising.
It's positive.
Oh, no, you don't want EV. You want, EV doesn't tell us whether it's a bluff or not.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is whoever got cut off last time that we said was going to be up first, and that was Derek. And it doesn't matter because they're not here, are they? Derek? Yep. So we'll go, next will be Bub, because Bub wasn't here yesterday. All right, so let me make a little list. So Scotty, Bub is next.
Okay, I try.
All right, Bub, and you get this excitement with a poster.
All right. I just call.
Okay, so so everybody folds to the 6-7. 5-6 doesn't open usually. He doesn't. 6-7 checks. So in hero's position, you're gonna flat this behind the flatter.
I
Okay.
don't feel like there's any reason to raise here.
Okay. So here's why I would raise here. And the fact is it's me, so I know that I did. I know myself. If this guy had limped, then I think limping behind is perfectly fine and probably best. But this guy didn't limp. He posted. So really what you have is you're on the button in a 3-blind game. And why would you limp your button in a 3-blind game? You wouldn't. You just open 4s, right? Plus, this guy has even worse than a big blind range because he had the opportunity to raise. We don't know whether the big blind has aces. We know this guy doesn't have doesn't have ace king. We know this guy doesn't have ace king. So his range is worse than a dead big blind range, and you can raise 4s into a big blind. So I want to raise it. That's my argument. What do you think of that now?
Beautifully said.
Thank you, Sam. What do you think, Bub? It's your hand.
I still want to call, and the reason is the other two guys could think along the lines like this, that if you call behind, you don't have a big hand. We don't. But they could squeeze a little bit too light.
And we can easily call a squeeze.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, not the biggest squeeze, but I guess we can still set mine in position. I
Right.
like this hand multi-way. So yeah, I don't care what happens actually. If
Okay.
I call here, everyone checks. That's fine. If someone raises, I just call. Also fine.
Right. And if it goes raise, re-raise, you fold. Okay. For one big blind. Yeah, so that's fine. All right. Those are two good points. And neither of us need to convince the other one. But
No.
you have to play you have to play the line that I chose.
I do.
Yep.
I try.
No, I mean right now you have to play it because that's what you get that's your hand.
Okay.
So 9 deuce should. Bub, this is you.
Wait, what?
So
We
I
have-
raised and we're gonna go on. So what should 9 deuce do?
I hope he folds.
Good. What should king 8 suited do?
I mean, I would call, but I'm an MTT player, so yeah, I think calling is fine. Maybe even 3-betting is fine.
Yep. You got it right. The king 8 suited can do some 3-betting. It's not the best 3-bet against a button raise. It's a better 3-bet against some earlier positions, but it's fine. And he never folds the king 8 suited against just a button. But because of the poster, this is an inflated button. So because this is larger, you should call less and you should 3-bet less total, and a higher frequency of your continues should be 3-bets against this size. And against that, the king 8 suited doesn't fit very well. It's a marginal 3-bet and it's a close call. So I would consider folding it. but he
Okay.
doesn't. Yeah. And the way that you would get the analysis of that is this. I'm going to show you it right here because we happen to have it. All right, we are going to go to Prometheus again. And we're going to look at the pre-flop solve that we did for Larry. So here, this is a 5 big blind open with no rake. It folds around to the button. Okay. So here's the button. Here's my range. I have 4s in it. When I raise to 5 big blinds from 4s, it was 4.5, but you have that. And the small blind folds. This is the big blind's response. And you see now against this range, how the king 8 suited falls out.
Yeah.
Compared to just a basic, let's just open to 3 on the button here. Oh, sorry, got to change this to 3s. Just do a nice 3 big blind open on the button. And now you see big blind is just all over it, right? Your king 8 isn't your best 3-bet, your king 6 is now, but it's, but you play all these, right? You go to 5 and all this goes away.
But it's still a little bit different, right? Because it's not that you're raising to 5. There's one call.
No, I'm raising to
that you
4 I'm raising to 4.5 instead of 5. So there's a half blind difference. But looking at this here, looking at the difference between this and this for 3, I don't think that half blind is going to bring in the king 8. I think if it does anything, it's going to fill in the king 9.
Oh,
before
I mean,
you-
the difference is massive. I'm just saying there's one big blind more in the pot just because we have one
Oh,
more.
right. There's that's already in there. You're right. You're right. That might bring you in. Okay. I didn't consider that. Absolutely. I agree. And so you're not going to bring in king 7, king 6. You're not going to bring in this, but yeah, you might bring in that. So, okay. Half blind smaller and extra big blind in the pot to bring you in. Now, reasons to not do it. If this guy calls, you're out of position against 2 players.
Yes.
And you need to be tighter than that. But he does it. We have now belabored this point enough. And the 6-7 should do what?
I mean, actually, okay, I think he should. I'm not sure if he has to fold because no, he only has to complete. But yeah, I guess folding is good. Just fold.
Yeah, what he really should do is stop playing poker or should come study with us. Because he shouldn't have 29 big blinds and he shouldn't post. But he did both those things and he also called, which the 6-7 he definitely shouldn't call. This is way too much money to put in with a 6-7 offsuit. All right, but he does. And he is not rewarded. All right, what should happen?
So what should happen here? I would guess that villain 18 should check. Villain 23 should check. And now the question is, what are we doing? We have a gut shot. We have middle pair. Our hand is also very. I think we should bet here. We don't have to bet big. Something like. What's a good sizing? I mean, we have a really small stack in here. Maybe something like 25, 33%. I don't know.
The small size from Prometheus is going to be 25, but I didn't know this when I played the hand, so I was still in DTO world. So if I bet here, it's going to be 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, perfectly fine. Also, I don't know, do we have to bet here? I'm not sure about that
I
one
don't think we
because
have to.
we have a gut shot, we have a backdoor flush draw. I mean, it could
Yeah.
check behind, right? Checking is not horrible.
okay.
Yeah.
Checking's okay. So anybody want to make a prediction for when we do this, whether on this board of ace deuce 3, the imposition player, me, has big bets in Prometheus. Ace deuce 3.
Yeah,
Let's
sprinkled
see.
in. I don't think it's gonna be prominent, but I think there will be.
Okay, more than 10% of the bet, not more than 10% of the range, but more than 10% of the bets will be big, do you think?
Yeah, I think it will be somewhere less than 20
Okay,
is my
right.
But
guess.
when you say big, you mean like 50% of the pot, or do
I
you
mean, like
mean
60
even bigger?
I mean I mean like 66%, 60% of the pot.
Oh.
That's what the big is. The sizes seem to be on the flop, 25% and 66 is the simplification for Prometheus. We'll take a look at that.
I also say that also with the condition that this is gonna check a lot too.
Yeah. All right. So I take the bet, and what should King 8 suited do now, bub?
I mean, he's not folding.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, should he ever raise? I don't think so. I would just call here with King
Okay.
8.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
suspect this,
perfectly fine.
yeah. I think the check is going to be preferred, but there's got to be some raising. There's got to be some degree of check raising, but I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah,
He does.
I like your line.
Yeah.
Because I think they have too many hands. They under check raise on the
Yeah.
flop. So
Yeah. This guy didn't though.
just bet.
Mm. Check raise.
But something like this, then I might, reconsider.
So-
Villain 23 should fold
Right.
easily.
Mhm.
And we are actually in a tough spot. And I
Good.
personally feel, damn. I don't love this spot because I feel like they shouldn't raise too much. This hand is great. Actually, it's hard to fold here. I
Mm.
would just peel one.
Yeah.
And see what happens on the turn. But
Yeah.
I don't love the situation, to be fair.
Yeah. So let's fold without the 4 of hearts. Let's always fold. Let's always fold
Yes.
and if we don't have the 4 of hearts, and let's call with the 4 of hearts as our preliminary play here. We'll do that. And that still has us folding half of our, some number of those. Great. Now, having called, I look like I have an ace.
Yep.
Yes.
To quote Derek, do you have the balls? He does.
Okay, at this point, I'm folding.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, not much we can do, right?
Nothing we can do. We cannot put this version of it in a 3-way solve because of the positions.
Yeah, I think you'd probably have to go, move it all the way back to the hijack and go King 8 small blinds and then a big blind call.
Yeah. Right. And the small blind, that puts this guy all in all the wrong places. So everything is just so fucked up with that. So
Yeah.
let's look at this just heads up. Let's look at the straight heads up. And we can't get it with the extra big size pre-flop. We're just going to do a straight up. We'll do a peek. We'll just do a straight up peek on this. And just do the easy thing of when the button is playing cash like a real poker player and raises on the button with pocket 4s, which he does. And the big blind calls with King 8 suited, which he does. And the flop comes down, ace of hearts, 2 of hearts, and 3 of clubs. Ace 2 of hearts and 3 of clubs, which often it does. And the big blind checks, which he always does. And the pocket 4s bet with a heart, which they sometimes do. And they bet small. Yep, that is equivalent to what I bet. I bet about a third of the pot. And I bet small. And the King 8 suited check raises, which he sometimes does.
I mean,
Yep.
that's
And
not.
his check raise is 3 times mine, and his check raise was about 3 times mine. Yeah. I went from 4, he did 3 times plus. This is 3 times plus, so he's not this big. What does pocket 4s do? Do we just fold? We do not fold. Children, we do not fold even without a heart. We have a pair plus a draw. We are putting in more money.
Versus GTO, okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus population, overfold it.
Yep, overfold. But do you want to overfold it as in fold all of them, or do you want to overfold it and just fold the ones without a heart?
Correct. That's what I would say.
Okay, so that's your overfold. All right, I'm with you. We'll fold twice as much. We'll fold half the hands that GTO calls 100% of the time is going to be our adjustment. I like it. There's the call. We get the 10 of Scotty's going to lose the hand. 10 of clubs. When he now comes in with his full-size king 8 of hearts, he usually doesn't continue. He does continue when he picks up his back door. But if we look at how often we have any of these hands, it's kind of nonsensy. But the ones that he does a lot, like his ace-7, where's a heart that he check raised here a lot? Does he have any? Oh, he can't have an ace. I'm sorry. So it's got to be kings. All right, so here we go. The king that he does it a lot, the king 3, continues. And so he bets about 3/4 pot, which in our world is 15. This is the closest thing to 15. And now the 4s, of course, have to fold, right? We're not going to call 4s. What the? All right. Does anybody think this is a good idea even in GTO world? I mean, the solver does, but do any of you think this is a good idea?
Hmm. Trying to figure out why it's so,
Because I have a pair and a draw.
yeah.
Because go fuck yourself. I have 6 outs. That's why.
I mean, if you're gonna
Here we
do
go.
it,
He goes to 20 and he goes to 20 and we start folding right and
Yeah.
left.
if you know that you're calling down with 4s on the flop when he check raises you, I would just put it in, depending on the player.
Meaning you would jam here?
I would want to, if the player is bad, the player is wild. If he's bad, if I've sat next to him and I've watched him stray from GTO and he's super aggro, and I know that because of my pair and my draws, I'm calling down those 4s, and I know he's going to bet, I just shove it up his ass.
Okay.
I don't think that's the exact opposite you should do, actually.
Why is
Yeah,
it?
Sam thinks that he's under bluffing his hearts and definitely his backdoor clubs.
Yeah, when you're saying he's straying from GTO, meaning I'm assuming that you're saying he's over bluffing.
Yeah.
Then you should actually call, because your hand will have more equity than than equilibrium. You should actually call here.
Well, if you're calling, you're giving him a chance to hit.
That's
Right?
true.
So
Well,
you have
so-
giving up your fold equity if you do that.
Well, when you're saying he's bluffing more than GTO, then that means he's bluffing more garbage than GTO.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
So
But his garbage has some, but the problem.
yeah, his hand,
problem is you
That's
have
what I'm saying.
4, so that
It-
you have
yeah,
4, so
his
that
garbage
garbage
is-
can hit.
His garbage is 9 jack here and
And his
And
all of his
it wasn't fair.
parts and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So he could hit a 9 or he could hit a heart. And at that point you'd expect him to stop.
yeah, I tend not to do that, especially in position.
I think maybe that strategy is better for bluff catching. I mean, I'm just gonna say that maybe, I mean, you don't know when exactly they're bluffing or not, so you might run into it. So you want to kind of mitigate that chance by just taking the passive approach and just seeing if they have it or not.
And so here's what my argument would be a plus about this, which
Mhm.
is our hand has 2 components to it. It has a draw and it has a marginally made component.
Mhm.
The best way to play marginally made hands is not to raise to protect them. It's not to bet to protect them. It's to check and get there, and get check 2 on the river and win, or bluff catch when appropriate and get extra money. That's your, there's a strategic tension there. We go, but if I bet, he'll fold things that have some equity. Yes, he will, but often he has a hand that beats you that he doesn't fold. So we've learned from Jonathan that when you have middle pair and when you have bottom pair and you're in bluff catch mode, you don't bet to try to get his bluffs to fold because his jack 9 is a bluff here. You let them continue bluffing and you bear down. That's good poker. So the pocket fours part of it wants to check call at best. The single four, the gut shot part of it, is happy to bluff, right? Because not only does he fold a 9-10, the 9-10 beats you. I mean, a jack 9, the jack 9 beats you. So it loves to bluff, as one of your low equity bluffs. And when you're competing, when you have that strategic tension between marginally made and draw, you err towards the size of marginally made in Jonathan Little land. And in the solver, what you do is you mix the two. So you don't have to agree with what I've said, but does what I've said make sense? Am I saying it clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So consider that and then decide your strategy that you think is best relative to it. Here we see the interesting thing to me that the 4 of hearts, 4 of clubs calls even to the bigger size because both of its set outs are clean. All the other ones have a set out that's not clean.
You also have to take into consideration, like, what's the stack depth here?
Yeah.
Like after in your solver thing, when they bet the turn, how much is left behind?
He's got another, let's see, I got to move you guys out of the way. After betting the turn here, so there's 20 in the pot. He bets 20. He's got 70 left.
Yeah, in your hand, he only has 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the solver's calling. There's more behind for the implied odds.
Yeah, and I don't have them.
Yeah. So in your hand, I think you played it fine because
right.
The population is under bluffing, and he doesn't have enough behind. So folding it's the better option, I would say.
Right. And to speak to Bub's A Plus's point about jamming it in his face, there you go. This is how we know is that we're arguing for the fold and it makes sense. There's reasons to call and it makes sense. And your play makes sense too. It's doing it with the 4s that are that can't be saved by their sets sometimes.
Yeah, the most vulnerable.
Most vulnerable to getting a set and still losing.
Blocking the nuts and most vulnerable.
Yeah. So all of our arguments have merit. And if you were not going to think in terms of the details of the suits A plus, if you weren't going to go so far as go, well, thinking about suits, your argument has merit and it has 25% of the merit of the calling argument and 50% of the merit of the folding argument. Unless you pick the right suits in solver land and only in solver land. All right. I found that interesting. And he bet and I folded. And I like what Sam said about the fact that he doesn't have I don't have the implied odds to draw to it against this guy. And the reason I like that is because I folded and I want to be right. All right. Up next, after Bub, who didn't get to do yesterday? Let's see. Sam left early. So Sam, this is going to be yours.
Sure.
You the second one yesterday. All right. Let me put the little note that says Sam is next. All right. Sam gets, these 2 hands are gone.
Really hide their hands though, seriously.
You want me to hide their hands?
Yeah, that makes
All
it
right, I'll do that.
makes it like makes your
Yeah, as long as I'm in the hand.
better.
Okay. There we go. All right. So we're going to play an ace 9 here. And then we'll see their hands at the end. And this is Sam.
Well, I'm not calling this hand.
Nope, neither am I.
Yeah.
So I think with this one, I think to do this one, we need to show their hands because,
Sure.
oh, wait a minute, maybe I can show just one hand.
Yeah, but the idea of the exercise is to, see what we should be doing, what.
Right. Okay. So,
I think actually you should trained for ranging people. That
Yep.
makes I think that makes you more money.
Next one that you're in that is just my hand. We can do that.
Yeah, and that's what we do. We get to see and kind of see what actually happens out here. So we get to see the ranges that are being played, and then we get to apply strategy based on those ranges.
Yeah.
And usually what we do is Mondays, we do the all cards face up, and Tuesdays we do the standard exercise you're describing. We're doing this because we're in multi-way madness, so we're doing it for everything. But
Sure.
yes, both are valid. All right, so this one's
You
your
got-
hand.
you gotta
Queens should
open and
obviously
call.
raise. I should fold. Ace 10.
Ace 10.
What should he do?
Yeah. Like, what's the hut on that guy?
We got 71 hands on him, and he's a 39-27.
Raise first in 37, 39?
Raise 27 raise first in, VPIP of 39.
I mean,
So
I'm playing.
he's loose, and he's quite loose and
Yeah,
quite aggressive.
I'm playing 40 big blinds.
Yeah, you're playing 40 big blinds, sadly.
I would never show up here like this. Like,
Yep. But here you are. What
I
should
would-
he do?
if I am playing 40 big blinds here, I would muck from against a early position open.
Okay, good enough. That seems like a
That's not what happened, I know, but
yeah,
you know.
that seems like a fine answer though, that with 100 big blinds, this is a fine call if you've got a calling range.
Yeah.
And it's a sometimes 3-bet if you don't have a calling range.
I'm either like putting the 40 big blinds in or I'm folding. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not calling here.
Gotcha. But he did. And this play is not near as bad as this play.
Yeah.
That's the worst of them. Okay.
I mean, it's checking.
Okay.
I'm betting here.
Okay. You bet. And
I'm gonna bet small like most of the time.
Okay.
3 big blinds.
right, 3 big blinds. He goes for half pot. And our new solver tells us we should be going 2.5 here. 2.4.
I mean, there's nothing to do here with ace 10, you know. You put the money in.
You mean jam, don't call.
Yeah, I'm not calling, just jam.
You've got 15 outs, you think, against his 7.
Yeah, I mean, if he has 9s and he folds 9s with no diamond, if he folds, that's good. 10s with no diamonds, that's good. No, I don't think he's folding jacks.
We have 15 outs against 7-8. We've got 12 outs against ace king. And we've got 12 outs against king king and queen queen and jack jack. And
Yeah,
the
so-
other 9-9, we've got 15. So just screw it and jam with 30.
Yeah, we have more equity
Yeah.
to push, you know,
Yeah.
regardless of what their hands are.
And then my question is, because when we solve it, he's not going to have 40, he's going to have 100. What do you want to do if you were full 100 big blinds deep with this?
A full 100 big blinds, I'm calling if I show up here with this hand.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I'm with you. 10-9s should, I think, don't we need to discuss. Queens.
So when they call, most of the time they have a draw or they have a pair, because on these wet dynamic board they're just gonna raise.
Yeah, if he had a straight or a set, he would raise.
Yeah. So, but this hand, it's you know, it's a little too thin to bet. So I would check here.
Okay. He goes for the bet. I like the thought of check there. I think we got to be checking sometimes with queens there. And I would do it. I think would you check more or less with the queen of diamonds?
I would check. I would check with or without the diamond here. Like now that I'm playing more live, because I noticed like they would bluff the river if you check to them again, but they would use a different sizing for value.
Right.
It's working like a charm. So
good. So my prediction is that we do a lot of checking with the queens, but we check the queens with the queen of diamonds more than the hands without the queen of diamonds. That's going to be my prediction.
Yeah.
All right. And the
So-
ace 10.
my think ace 10, I think this guy is calling.
Yeah.
He's not. Yeah, he's calling.
This size.
I wouldn't show up here with
Sure.
it so I don't know how to play this spot. But if I'm 100 big blinds deep, then I'll call again.
Still call, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no point to bet the queens now after we bet 2 streets. We basically run out of value.
Okay.
So I would check here.
Okay. What about a small value bet to get called by 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, and ace 7?
I just don't think they have ace, 9, 10s like jacks, because they would just jam the flop. I mean, they would just jam either pre-flop or on the flop.
Okay.
He goes all.
He goes all in, but he's really only going half pot.
Really committed 20. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really only going half pot. So there you go.
See, my thinking in hand would be, this guy doesn't have 9s, 8s, 10s, jacks, because the 40 big blinds would have gone in pre-flop, or either when I bet the flop, the money would have gone in.
Right. Yeah. He would put
They
his.
don't have that. So what's most of their range? It's just draws.
Diamonds, 6s.
Yeah, it's just draws.
And but some of his draws are 6, 7, 5, 6, and 7, 8.
Yeah, I would just.
Some of his draws have a pair.
Yeah, I would just check and let them bluff.
Okay. All right. Right. And we're definitely not folding. Definitely not folding.
No,
right?
no.
Okay,
If he runs into like king jack of diamonds, then so be it.
Right. Okay. 7, 4 of diamonds, 5 of clubs. And the positions are going to be, to get our result, we're going to be on button. Ace 10 is going to be on the button, so we can call, and that'll be the big blind. And this guy is much earlier than that, but we're going to put him in the low jack because that's all we have.
I
So
really
with all those
want.
caveats. Say again?
Yeah. I'm not sure about the flop jam. I mean, I can get behind it, but what is villain actually betting on the flop that he will fold against the jam when
So
he's
you
in the
don't care about his
sandwich?
fold. You're not trying to get him to fold when you jam there with ace 10. You're just taking your equity to the river. You're saying, I have enough equity to go. I've got 9 outs against every hand except pocket aces and sets and straight, and straight. I'm sorry, I got 12 outs. I've got 15 outs against almost every hand. I've got 9 outs against sets and straights. And I've got 12 outs against, every pair that isn't aces. And sometimes he folds, and
Yeah,
sometimes
like
he
on the flop.
folds 8s or 9s, and that's golden because I don't have to get there.
Yeah, I would be trying to fold out with 40 big blinds. I'm just trying to maximize my fold equity. If he fold any kind of pair, like if you monkey stab the flop with, I don't know, pocket 4s, great for me. But I don't expect him to fold queens. I don't expect him to fold jacks. If he monkey stab ace king and fold, great.
Right.
But against all those hands, my hand have enough equity to run it where I'm not, losing money when all
Right.
in.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that one. But why is it better than just calling?
Because I'm short. With 40 big blinds, I'm short.
Right. So you look at the thing of with 40 with one of the things you have to get there to win the pot. And if you call and call by the time you get to the river and you try to bluff, you won't get a pair to fold because you don't have enough oomph behind it. So this is the only time you have any fold equity.
Okay, yeah.
And if you get of his range that bets, if you get 15% of his range to fold, so he's only there with 85, and then you've got to beat the other 85, that's better than, having to get there all the time is the thought process.
And sometimes he calls us with worse, like king, queen of diamonds, jack, diamond,
Yeah.
queen,
And
jack,
so,
diamond.
you could put it in a spreadsheet and see, and do that calculation of which of the two is better. And the answer is they're not going to be far apart. And Sam thinks intuitively that the jam is better, but neither of us have done the math on this specific.
There's a website called the fold equity calculator. Like you could go in there and then you could put in the guy's range, your hand, and then your stack depth. It'll tell you even it'll tell you, even if he doesn't fold at all, you will make money by pushing. I've seen that. I've run that a lot of times before. So this looks like a spot that, like, even if he doesn't fold any kind of pair, we're fine. Like if he doesn't fold pocket sixes, if he doesn't fold pocket nines, pocket tens, pocket jacks, we're fine, because we have the equity to run it.
Okay. So here's the other thing that I think we've learned. The blinds have donks on the same type of flops they would heads up. The other things we've learned. So we're looking for those kinds of flops. The three-way nature of it doesn't alter the fact that the blind versus the opening range is the blind versus the opening range. Or certainly the opening range hitting the board is the same. So here we have a board of 4-5-7. We know this is a board that the big blind would frequently donk against the low jack, right? So
It would be a much higher frequency, by the way, if it was heads
Right.
up.
right. But that's where we get that's the kind of board we're getting donks. We don't expect to see a donk here on an ace king 5 board. I'll do an ace king 5 board when we're done. That's my little reminder just to prove my point. Make sure we got that. So let's look at ace king 5. Let's be cute and not give it a straight and not give the low straight draw. Ace king 6. There we go. All right. So we got some donks and 6, 7, and our guy had, what the heck was our other guy's hand anyway?
10-9.
Yeah. Oh, he had 10-9. I knew he had some nonsense. Right. Okay. So here we go. 10-9 offsuit ain't one of them. So he checks. Makes sense. We come up on our pocket queens, the opener. Here's our opener. And this is one where we let the guy stab a ton.
Yeah, because he will.
Right. So here's my new theory that I used to say when the blinds have donks, the second player doesn't. That's low jack big blind. So this is my second guess. When opener is sandwich. And we're going to see if this is true. When opener is sandwich and blind has donks, opener checks range. Is that true? Let's find out. All right, so here we go. We're going to look at that as we go forward. But yeah, this is basically a check range here. You can eliminate. You can ignore this stuff. And he goes for his queen, so we won't break the solve. But his better play is to check. And that's got to, and we may not want to do that in game because this presumes that this guy is going to stab wide. That's why we do this with queens, because this guy's stabbing his queen jack. And it doesn't have to be diamonds. But if this guy is not stabbing like this, then we do not want to let a free card come off then we want to bet our queens. And you can decide how realistic this is. And I guess you can also decide if my logic is wrong, that if they don't stab this much, then we want to bet. But our guy bet. And he has small and large bets here. Low jack has small and large bets. So our other prediction is going to be that because there are some large ones, there are very few of them, but we'll see it, is blinds only small on flop. Open, out of position, mix. That's our question. This guy has some, but it's so few that maybe we don't need to, maybe it never comes up. All right. So he does his bet and he bet the closest thing to half pot, which is going to be 4 big blinds is our closest thing to half pot that he has.
Yeah, you're on the
This is the
button right now,
response.
so
Sorry,
you gotta
I'm on
go
the wrong
back
node.
one to see.
This node, this node has got half pot, he's got tiny and this, and he was
Yeah.
closer to tiny.
25 and 66%.
25 and 66, and he was 50. So I guess we should give him the 66. 66. And we come up now on the button with his ace 10 suited. And with 100 big blinds deep, we don't want to do a lot of raising of ace 10 suited, but you can. And the fact that Sam is doing this more as the pot, as his stack gets smaller, that makes sense to me. But we
Yeah,
do
it's
not
mo-
do ace 10, and mostly it's a call, which is what you said you were going to do. So there we go. There's the call. Back on the 9-10 who has to fold. And we get the beautiful king of hearts. And do the queens have to slow down when they get here? This is going to be weird because they're going to barely be in range. So at this point, the solver may be nonsense. All right.
I'd have to go to weighted strategy because
Weighted
it's gonna be
strategy. We
such
weight the
a
strategy.
low frequency node.
All right. So we are at a position here. Our queens mostly check. And the question is, do they check more often or less often with the queen of diamonds? And I say they check more often with the queen of diamonds. Come on, suits. Finally. Scotty's right about something. And does everybody know why this logic holds?
No, why?
Okay. Because when you have because the hands that you're against here include made hands and draws. The most common draws are, they're straight draws and flush draws. Ignore the straight draws, they don't matter. So we're just looking at the flush draws. So he's got flush draws and he's got made hands. Your hands beat most of your made hand, queens beats most of his made hands. So you want to continue betting it. Right? Like that. But when he has the king comes in, you might be beat, so you back off. When you check, if he has a flush draw, you don't want it to come in because you're making it easy for a flush draw. When you have the queen of diamonds, the flush draw doesn't come in as often. So the queen of diamonds is less afraid of the river card than without the queen of diamonds. Plus, when you have the queen of diamonds, he has less flush draws. So he's got fewer flush draws that he's on and fewer of them come in. Therefore, if you're going to have to split your queens between checking and betting, this is only when you have to, you can check with the queen of diamonds because it's a safer hand. Does that all make sense now? I'll take your silent acquiescence.
Yep.
And realize that although I say this with tremendous confidence because my job is to speak confidently, if we had seen the solver and it had been the opposite, I would be telling a different story or I wouldn't say anything. So my rationalization of what the solver is doing might be completely wrong. That's why I thought of it, and then the solver confirmed it. We don't know that it's actually the solver's reason. But I think it is, because it makes sense to me, and I'm going to stay with it. All right, so the king comes. We have the queens without the queen of diamonds. So this is the one we should be betting the most, and we don't. Right, because oh no, he does bet it. Good. He bets half pot. And the sizing on this that he's allowed is, you guys are in the way of the sizes. He's allowed four big blinds. And so he bet about, so he doesn't have a half pot size, but he bet big. So we're going to call it the big size. And can diamonds continue for the big size? I think ace 10 can. Yep, absolutely. You continue for this size. You jam your ace 7 of clubs. You represent the king against his continuing range. That's funny. That's a really funny bluff to turn the 7 into a bluff. You're on a 5-out draw with your 7. All right, but he calls. Great. And the 5 comes. And what do the queens do on the 5 of hearts? All right, we have the bet call. We pick up the 5 of hearts. And we said, this is when you said he's run out of value. This is Sam ran out of value here, and this guy didn't. Let's see. He's saying we have no hearts, no queens left. That's not true. Oh, that's right. We have so few of them. But if you have them. All right. So. Yeah, you pretty much ran out of value. It won't even let me select queens. I have so few queens.
Yeah.
But jacks are a lot like queens. You kind of ran out of value.
And is that using like a B10 there or B15, like super tiny? What's the size?
Yeah, tiny. 3.7 big blinds into B10.
Yeah, 10.
It is.
I don't mind betting the queens on the river if the opponent's deep and you know they're not going to turn some kind of hand into a bluff, because like when they just go call, they either have a draw or some kind of a pair.
Yeah.
Like in a live game, I don't mind betting small just to get called by, like, I don't know, A7, like pocket 8.
Yeah.
Where they're not going to turn it into a bluff.
Right. Whereas this guy is going to turn it into a bluff.
Yeah, but yeah.
And
yeah.
Oh, go on. Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, it could be more profitable if you just call and then they bet small, because they like to bet small to bluff.
Yeah. And just call.
And then you just call.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I ran the fold equity on it's called Red Chip Poker.
Okay.
Fold equity calculator.
Yep.
So what I put on, they asked for a couple things.
Yeah, let's take a look. Why don't you share your screen on that? Let's take a look at this tool.
Well, it's on my computer, and let's see.
Oh, are you set up to share your screen on your computer on Zoom? Just
can I do that?
yeah, you should be able to if you go to the you're doing this on Zoom, right? You're doing Zoom on your computer at the same time?
No, you could log on to it. Just go to Red Chip Poker Fold Equity Calculator.
All right, let's try it.
I'll show you. Red Chip Poker, all one word.
There's Red Chip Poker, smart poker strategy for live players.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
And then just search for the Fold Equity Calculator. You don't need to log in.
Okay. App.
Go to the right. Yeah, the right there. Just search for the Fold Equity Calculator.
Fold Equity Calculator.
Yeah.
Hello. All right, here it is. All right.
So the pot was like, I gave it 14.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's $14 in the pot when the UTG bets.
Yep.
And he bets about like 4.5. You just give it 4.
Okay.
If we shove, we have 34.
All right.
And equity percentage when called, I assigned him a range of I assigned him a very strong range. I just say, because it's a multi-way pot, they're just betting their pair and there's no folding. So aces through 4s. He's betting all his set, all his overpair. The only bluff he's betting with is pocket 6s, which is an open ender.
Right.
And when you run that, we have 44% equity if we shove and get called by his entire range.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 40% equity, but I'll go with your 44 because you did the calculation.
So it already tells you they don't need to fold. If they bet that range and they don't fold, we are profitable to shove.
Right.
So I'm assigning him an extremely strong range.
Right.
and they're not folding, and we have the equity to run it with a 34 big blind stack.
But you make our stack 100 big blinds.
No, yeah, if
But
you make
now
100,
he's got to fold. Now to break even, he's got to fold
Yeah,
35%
he needs to
of the
fold
time.
he needs to fold something. So
Right.
the lesson is, the shorter you are, the more monkey stabbing they are, just you could shove without,
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
if
that's
they don't fold, it's fine.
That's great. Thank you for that tool. I like that. Yep. And usually you do not bluff the front door, right? So usually if he checks here, you don't bluff diamonds. But notice
I wouldn't.
that here on this particular case, you bluff diamonds because you don't have anything else, because that's what you're here with. Your broken hands are all. Okay, let me make sure I'm in the right node here. Oh, we're not in we're in the wrong place. Here we are. So we need to be in a bluff situation. So all our pairs are not bluffs. Sixes are going to bluff, and sixes bluff with a diamond, which seems crazy, but let's see the weighted strategy when we have them. I want him to have diamonds when I bluff. I want folds, and he's here with diamonds. So I don't understand why sixes with a diamond is bluffing and the other sixes aren't. These are sets. These are real value. These are all value that just calls. Now we go up to our bluffs. King, queen. We bluff the king, queen, a diamond.
Top pair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Screw our kings. We bluff 9-8. We bluff our 9-8 of diamonds because we don't have any non-diamonds to bluff. These are pairs that we're turning into bluffs. We have a little bit of those. It's these aces. All the hands we get to the river with, because of the way the action went, are diamonds. So you can't find enough bluffs without going into diamonds. That's why I believe we're bluffing diamonds. All right. The other thing we wanted to see about this hand was we wanted to look at we just wanted to look at the ace king six to prove that the blinds do not have donks on the ace king six. So let's use.
Yeah, you don't have to look at that. There will be no donks.
Okay, right. So that's where those go away. Okay. And on the ace king six, the low jack should have some bets here.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's keep the same configuration real quick and just go to an ace king six, and then all right, this is the easiest way to do it. There. Ace, king, six, rainbow. No donks. Perfect. It's just like heads up. Lots of betting. Hits our range there. Lots of betting. And when we check, the button has a fair amount of betting. Okay, great. We do not need to look at anything else on that. And the next hand goes to yesterday. I think did Derek get a second hand yesterday? Anybody remember? Who cares? It's Derek.
No, but it's okay.
Derek is up. All right. Here we go. And I give Derek a 9 deuce or an ace deuce of mine. Okay.
King queen is fold. 5-5 is
So king queen raised here, and that early he has some, not a lot, but he does have king queen. He has no king jack. But remember, this is 2.5 big blinds. This is not your raising range.
okay.
So
And
here's
is it no rake?
no, this is rake. King queen can open. It mixes, ace jack mixes, no queen, no king jack, no ace 10 in first position. But this is a 2.5 open. You
So-
change it bigger and you just can't do it.
Scotty, what does that mean to you if you could go back for just a second on that graph there?
Yeah.
So ace jack and king queen off are both 0, but the frequency, there's like less folding I see from king queen than ace jack. What does that mean there?
It has to do with not what how the hand performs, but how the whole shape of the range performs. So if you notice, look at how many more suited aces you have. So you're looking at some board coverage here. You have lots more suited aces than kings. So when you add in these hands, if you added in all the ace jacks, you would be overweighted in the aces than kings for your boards. So it's not that you would rather have, it's not that if you had to play only one hand in your life, you would not choose to play king queen here more often than ace jack.
Okay, so it's just a matter of board coverage and the way
Yeah.
solver does whatever it does.
Right. So these are your zero. So these are your best zeros. And so you mix them. These are also all zeros that you mix. Right. The argument that I made before where I said, let's overplay the zeros on the button against the blinds, because if we're equally good players and neither of us is great, they make more mistakes out of position than we make in position, because it's harder to play out of position. So that's why I would argue for, let's raise the ace 3 pure and even raise the ace 2 soft suit on the button, even though they look like this. Let me put in a fold here. Even though they look like this. I would make the opposite argument here. You are very likely in our games to get a field call, right? So you are very likely to be playing this hand out of position. So if you want to eliminate all these zero equity hands, because it's going to be hard, because you're going to make more mistakes post flop out of position, I would be fine with that.
Okay, so I could eliminate them more out of position and incorporate them more in position, depending on, of course, my table dynamic.
So if you want to tighten this range up and do the following thing live, if you want to fold ace jack, fold king queen, fold all these offsuit kings, and even fold, 6, 7, 8, 9 here, and ace 4. So just play the ace 5 and the ace 10 above from, a 9-handed game under the gun. I would say that's fine. You're
Okay.
not losing much equity. You're fine. And they will never realize that you don't have a GTO range. If you lose all of this zero, then you only own a few boards. You lose on all these boards if you never have these. So that's the danger of losing all of these. But again, if they don't know anything about your range, these are all still zero EV. You can lose all these.
Exactly.
And just better hand them.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. And on that point, when you initially join a table, nobody knows how you're playing. So when you initially join a table, you shouldn't really play so loose. You should play more straightforward. And then over time, as they see how you're playing and your showdowns, you could start switching gears, so to speak, maybe.
Yes. Now I want to change one word there, and then someone else will say something, which is you said you don't want to play so loose, as in you want to play tighter. And I would say that if you have the ability to, it's not that you want to play tighter. You want to play closer to GTO when you first sit down before you know anything about how anyone else is playing. But at our low stakes, even without knowing who the people are, we know something about how they play because they're at low stakes. So with that in mind, since one of our adjustments might be to play tighter, then what you said is right. You understand that I didn't want to put out there the thing of saying when you first sit down at a table in general, you should play tighter rather than looser. It's like, no, you should play closer to GTO until you know. But we know something at all our tables. Our tables are not GTO. So I agree. Play tighter until you find out who are the bluffers, who's playing too loose, who's the old man coffee. And then adjust.
Perfect. Thank you.
Somebody else want to say
I
something?
don't do that.
Derek, what do you say?
I don't do that.
We'll go Derek and then Sam. Derek, you're up first.
I assume I don't play tight at all when I sit down. I just assume they are awful. Like if we go to the next, so I'm playing all the 5/5s.
Yeah. So
because
right.
I just assume if I hit my set, I get their whole stack.
Right. So
So
you're playing with a very strong assumption about a set of players that you've played with a lot. So you know a lot about them. So when you first sit down, you have a ton of knowledge about
so
this player pool, right?
yep. So I'm gonna play a pair of deuces
Yep.
because if I hit my bottom set,
right,
they give me their stack,
right.
basically.
Now, if for some reason you were in California just for fun and you were staying at my house and I said, "Hey, we got a cash game on Thursday night. You want to go play?" And you said yes. Would you make
Okay.
that assumptions about the players there? Different environment, different set of people, nobody in your casino you know. I'm at the table, and it's possible that I've talked to other people at the table the way I talk to you guys.
Well, I would assume they're awful
Great.
because they're playing like low stakes at
Okay.
a drop game,
Okay. Good enough.
right? So
Good
I assume that they're beyond terrible.
Okay. There's yours. All right. And then Sam, your point you
that
wanted to make
correct?
was?
It's not that you play tight until they see you how you play. It's you should pay attention to what is shown down. Like when let's say EP open and then you see a guy call from the low jack, you really want to pay attention to what they're calling with, and then you could adjust your opening range. If you notice they're calling with, let's say the GTO tells you not to open ace 10 off, but you see them in position calling ace 5 off, ace 3 off, then you would actually be losing money not to open ace 10 off.
Right.
You adjust based on what they're doing. You know the baseline, what the baseline should be.
Right.
And then you just keep changing based on what you see on the showdown. That's why you always pay attention to what they're showing down.
Good. Now, Skate's situation is Skate's starting to play again live after not having played for a while. So he's looking for sort of his baseline that he's going to expand from. So for Skate to start in early position by leaving out these zero equity hands, and so he's getting used to what his entire player pool plays like and how he plays, seems like a reasonable choice for his, for this month, and to start adding hands in as he gets better confident in his play and has a better sense of his player pool. What do you think of that?
Oh, definitely. I agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Like my default is saying fuck balance, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And here we're not looking, and here it's not so much balance for these. Balance is going to come later. This is can you play this? Can you play do these enhance your range or hurt your range? But leaving them out is not going to hurt you now. Leaving all these out, I think, is not your best choice in the long run. Because I think you're going to be better out of position than the field callers who you're going to be getting, because they're going to be field calling with all kinds of stuff they shouldn't in the long run. But you want to find out more now. But for your start, sure. Let's go tight under the gun. All right, enough on that. We're going to move back to this hand here, and this is Sam's hand, right? Yeah.
No, mine.
So, oh, sorry, this is Derek's hand. Derek, and your
So
king
as
queen
I said
chose to
before,
open, and he opened a 2.
There's only a small sliver of 5/5s. But I think I can call it for 2 big blinds if I think they'll give me their whole stack.
Right. So you
But
call
it's
it, and
probably a fold.
you call it, and he chooses not to this early.
Yeah.
Both make sense. Both are
Ace 10. I kind of hate ace 10 calling here, but I could go either way. I'm not.
If you have a calling range, this fits okay into your calling range.
Yep.
If you don't have a calling range, even better. And the ace 10 suited is going to mix 3 bets and some folds here. This is not going to be a pure 3 bet in the solver.
It's kind of early.
Right. But it is going to do its sum. Raise. There's your ace 10.
Yep. You can fold, you can call.
Yep. In a pure 3 bet. And then looking at this in a game where you have lots of calls, which is going to be peak GTO because there's no rake. In the no rake land, raise, ace 10, happy to call. Happy to call in a calling.
Yeah.
In a calling environment, ace 10 is happy to call.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And he calls. And it's to 2 big blinds, which makes it even better for him. Great. Don't hate it. Going
Fold, 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 fold.
right. This is bad. Bad.
Okay, if it was suited, I could call.
Yep.
I think is that correct?
Let's see. Let's see if you would even call the suited in the cutoff.
No,
Another 40 big blind stack calling.
So bet
on the
40 you
button.
don't- 40 you don't want to, but look at it. These are 100 big blinds deep. Look at what you lose. Your second call is much tighter.
Yeah, you won't have absolute position, but even if you did have absolute position, you're multi-way, 3-way, and you're not drawing to the nuts.
Yeah. So bad. Offsuit, it's unimaginable.
Yep.
And suited.
But like there's a sliver that you can call with if it was suited.
You can call if it's suited, but you're 40 big blinds deep, which argues against it.
Yeah.
So bad. All right. He does
Oh,
it.
it's good.
He's a
good.
19.
Yes. Thank you, Sam. Yes. All right. And
He's
now,
a 19-6 that calls. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah. How many hands do we have? Is he short? How many hands do we? Oh, this is after,
36.
this is 36 hands. That's a number. That's kind of
Yeah.
surprising. All right.
I guess he likes position. So okay.
How wide? Okay. Anybody gets to chime in on this.
I
How
find it
wide do you
interesting
wanna
that
play
the
your suited hands?
12-6 The 12-6
Oh, never mind.
opens in early position.
Yeah.
With 52 hands on him.
So,
I'm surprised. Color me
I was about
surprised.
I was about to ask how wide do you want to play your suited hands to this 2 big blinds out of position here, but the answer is you have 29 big blinds, so you don't want to play them.
Okay, so if you're considering, should I shove it in?
No, just fold.
Yeah, like that. You think,
Just
the
fold.
guy opened for 2 early,
He's early.
and
He's
I
out.
have 29. Can I shove here? I think maybe you could profitably shove,
I would be shocked.
No way.
but
I would
that's
be
a
shocked
pure
if you
bluff.
could possibly
As a
shove.
pure bluff.
I like the aggression factor. The only thing about that is that you might be up against like the aces, kings, ace king from EP. If it was a later position, you could it's probably a better idea. I don't know.
Well, let's just take a look at this. If you're up against skate, the
I don't
range
know.
you're up against is going to be
Like, what's his fold
ace,
to 3-bet?
queen.
What's the fold to 3-bet of the opener?
His fold to 3-bet is 100%, but it's only happened one time.
Shove it in.
It's only happened one time.
Okay. Well, let's say let's say we shove it in here. Like calling is out of the question.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, I think you get it through this time. Maybe the ace 10 gets weird, but probably not.
Yeah, but 29. Like he called for 2.
Yep.
Is he gonna call again for 29?
Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. But I'm just gonna say this: if you're up against skate, you're up against a range of ace queen, not even ace jack, kings, queens, jacks, tens, no nines, none of this garbage, and on a suited side, ace 10 suited and ace 5 suited. That's what you're against skate. Feel free to jam into that. All right, here we go. He folds. Moving on.
Oh, see the shove.
Okay, so we got our top pair meh kicker.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bet this.
Okay. We bet from first position. There's also
Yep.
lots of checking, and we could go, in first position, there would be a lot of checking. We cannot solve this because we have a field caller and a field caller.
Yep. So we're gonna bet
We bet
like-
out.
like-
Okay.
3/4. No,
Yeah.
too small.
You like, I'm still going to bet. I'm going to bet small here.
I think we
Okay.
should be confident about our hand, Derek. I think when you said mega kicker, I think our kicker is premium. Any ace, any king is a
Yep.
premium kicker because nobody has ace queen.
Ace
Somebody
queen
may.
Three betting. Yeah. There are ace queens out there, but not a lot of them. A lot of them 3-bet. I'm with you.
Is this the worst hand you're gonna bet?
So ace 10 whiffed, so he folds.
Yeah. And just fold, and we get there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Sam asks what's the worst queen you want to open and bet here?
Queen deuce.
What queen deuce did you open?
Pardon?
Did
No,
you open
okay, like,
queen suited?
like if I get this flop, I'm opening any queen.
No, you don't, this is pre-flop. This is you pre-flop. You're first to act pre-flop. What queen
Oh.
do you have? You have king, queen, and some king, queen you folded in this position. You have ace, queen.
Yep.
Do you have queen, jack offsuit here? Do you open queen, jack offsuit here?
Hell no.
Me either. Okay, how about on the suited side? On the suited side, you've got queen, do you have queen, jack suited in this position?
No, probably like queen 10 at
Okay, so
worst.
your worst queen is, and by the way, I don't have queen 10 suited here. I only have queen jack suited here. And I don't even have it at full frequency because I've got this, I've got this range here. Queen jack suited is,
So queen 10 is in that range.
that was, yeah, fuck
No,
you.
it's not. Okay, yeah.
It is, it
Okay.
is. You found the sliver.
Tiny
But-
sliver.
But you have queen 10. And so the question is, do you want to bet? So you opened your queen 10. You're in this position. Do you want to bet your queen 10 and your queen jack here? Are you betting
Oh,
all?
yeah.
Okay, so there's your answer, Sam. He's betting all queens.
Because it goes 4-3. Like there's not many 4-3s that people
Okay.
have.
There we go. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a bet, but
all right. Good enough. Okay, up next is we're going to Larry.
All right, here we go.
Here you go, Larry. I give you the lovely, I believe. Yeah, it was ace two. So did we do this one already? We have not done this one. Did we? No, because I opened a 2.3, which is weird. Okay, you got this one. I don't remember us doing this one.
Okay, hero mixes, I think, this early,
I do, and I took it.
and that's fine. Queen jack suited. I think it calls with button. I don't really know these
I
ranges
don't know
as
why I
well,
raised
but,
to 2.3 here. All right.
but this guy's gonna call.
He calls.
And against not so we're 2, 4, 6. So nine-handed. Oh, this is a clear fold. Small blind. This is not folding. I don't know if it gets squeezes here, frankly. I would anticipate it does not get squeezes against early position. I would anticipate it flats.
All right. That will be that's what we will look at while we do this, while we run the solve, because we can
Sure.
run this solve, putting me in low jack. So that's our first question. And he calls.
That's gonna be interesting. So let me see.
Everybody has something.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think this texture, it's not all donks. You don't think you should check.
Mhm.
He's gonna donk.
Yeah.
Alright,
So we don't think the big blind has a lot of donks on jack 8-9.
no, I don't think in theory we do.
It'll be a low donking board. But he does.
I would have preferred to check raise, but anyway, um,
As played.
so. We've got the queen of diamonds. And a gutter, and call. I think hero calls.
And the weird thing about our gutter is it's going to be so visible when it comes in. It's going to be hard to get any money, but we're going to get a lot of money from a queen.
Yeah, yeah, you
Weird.
are.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. So I call.
And queen jack. This is a really weird spot. I don't think your hand's good enough to. So, okay, well, let's do some ranging here, right?
Yeah.
So. What is big blinds B50 dunking range? Well, I don't think it often includes this. I think that he has 9-8, he has eights and nines, he does have jacks probably in theory as a flat. I don't think we get the fold yet, but I don't think we also should be raising.
Ace 5 has jack 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, and 9, 8. I'm not
Yeah.
doing great against the jack. I'm doing better against the jack 10 than I am against the 9, 10. And I'm doing badly against the 8, 9. And he's not folding any of them.
Yeah, I don't think an imposition raise is appropriate here.
And he
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't can. Well, wait a minute. Before we say he can't fold, Joey, he can't fold. You know why?
He's
He
got,
can't fold because of the 10.
yeah, he's got backdoor activity going on.
If he had ace jack, Joey could fold here.
Yeah, I think the 10 means he needs to call.
Yeah. And the 10 is a disaster for him, but
Yes.
with the 10, I don't think he can fold yet, even without a diamond. But he's close. He is close to folding.
Yeah, that's a really weird spot.
Not
Uh-huh.
close to folding anymore.
So, I don't know what villain 58 is up to, but I think villain 58's first option is to check here because he
Yeah,
got
I
two
agree.
calls.
I agree.
If he barrels this, he's a fucking gangster.
Nope, he doesn't.
Yeah. So, I think Hero is not really interested in turning his hand into a bluff. Multi-way with someone behind. Maybe if it went check, check, you could think about that.
Yeah.
I think Hero should check.
Yeah. If he bet and I called and villain 63 folded, I could turn my hand into a bluff now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Not
heads up.
against-
Yes,
not-
absolutely.
Not against this.
And so it gets to villain 63. Villain 63 is in a very interesting spot. So I think, I mean, there's going to be, so does ace 5 have traps? Yes, he should actually have traps. His trap should be boats
Mm-hmm.
with 8s and 9s. He should be,
Yep.
I mean, he doesn't want to check them all the time. But then he also has to ask, villain 63 has to ask himself, how often is someone clever enough to trap his boated up combos?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, but not all the time. And so I think we do value bet here, and I think we value bet to like my gut says 10 bigs.
I like it.
Yeah.
I bet that I don't think the solver has that particular size. I think it has a smaller small size and a bigger big size, but I like it.
Yeah.
And so does he.
So I think this is fine. You've got a very wet texture, which is going to allow calls. You're also sometimes losing here, but
And anybody who called backdoor hearts, I've got a lot of people who can call this bet who I have beaten
yeah.
and who will put money in, who may not fold. And if they fold, I don't care. I'm fine if somebody folds a heart or folds their hearts or their
And
diamonds.
you also can call reasonably sized raised with this combo.
Yeah, I don't wanna, but I can.
So he's not, so this is important to see. We kind of, I wonder how face up ace 5 suited, ace 5 diamond is here. I'm not sure it's not face up. But I don't think we can range him, right? We can range, what is his donk? Call, check, call range. And it's probably gonna be actually a lot of high equity.
Hey, Scotty, you have all these hands, right? You should just filter every single time the player and this player pull donk out of position and see what their hands are. It
Okay.
seems like every single hand I see, they're not at the top of their range.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, we can do that. We can do that later. But do you want, Ned,
Yeah,
do you want to, we can do that. That would be easy to do I think it's an easy thing to do in this multi-way solve. We'll look at it. I'll check that tonight. Let me give a note. Filter for flop donk.
Yeah, because if their donking range is not at they don't have another donking range, then you should
Yeah.
exploit that.
Yep.
We should exploit that. You should if it's not multi-way, you should just float with everything that you open because they don't have the top of their range and just bluff their ass.
Right, which is where Nuffle comes from. It comes from that observation of mass data analysis that they are not at the top of their range.
Yeah.
With their donks.
Alright, so
So
now
with
we've
this,
got,
Larry, but back to
so-
Larry's thing, you said you wanted to range him, and I think you can range him on diamonds. You know, I don't care which diamonds. Diamonds.
yeah,
I don't think he has a lot of hearts here. He might, because he could bet his hearts, but you kind of think that when you bet your hearts, you continue when you get here to this. But
so I
some
think we heavily discount Jack X. Maybe he's got shitty jacks. No, we discount Jack X.
he's got Jack 10, but there are not a lot of them because we see 3 of them. But he does have Jack 10 here that he could play this way, because he could so comfortably call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but why, I
But
don't
eight,
think
nine.
I don't think a human that donks flop and then gets trips on turn
Right.
on this texture checks.
Yeah. So 9, 10, 8, 10, 9, 8 before he called are all nine, and then the diamonds. All those seem.
Yeah, I think his
All those
T pair are really unhappy now.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think Hero seeing this kind of action just needs to get out.
Oh, absolutely. Because now now my 10 of hearts is polluted.
Yeah,
And now my 10 of diamonds was polluted, but I at least blocked diamonds.
yeah,
I got to get the hell out of here.
yeah, you've just gotta get out. So. Let's see if we get it explode. No, we do not. So. Villain 58 is a little bit spazzy. I don't think he's going to, but this is the brick of all bricks. Villain
This is a brick.
63 is very excited about this hand. Villain 58, I think, has to give up the ghost and check.
Maybe bluff hearts and not bluff diamonds.
Yeah,
He does.
check. And I think villain 63 is a clear value bet. What are his value targets? Well, it's very hard to understand what this range is because it's out of the box.
It's a
But
pair plus straight draw.
he's gonna have some 9x, some 8x.
Yeah, we got to bet.
Maybe one thing he dunks with here is 10x, like tens.
Yeah.
So I think we have to value bet to like 30 plus.
Oh, really? I think you got to bet. I think you got to value bet down to sort of 20 to get called by 9, 10.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright, magnitude trumps frequency, blah, blah, blah. But yeah,
Yep.
I think sizing is fine. I think 20 is fine.
Okay, so here's the reason to go bigger though. The top pair is paired. So he now calls more with his 9, right?
He should.
Yeah. So so that's a reason to push it up to the 30. So I want to push down to 20 because I want to make it easy for the 9 to call, and you want to go 30 because the 9 will call the bigger amount because of the double paired. Both are true.
And then there's another way.
Yeah. Which
If
is
the villain is aggressive, because we're targeting 10, right?
I would say 10s and 9x, yeah.
A known aggressive villain, then you should bet small.
and by small you mean violate the Matt Affleck rule. You mean
Like-
block size.
And
Not
Sam wants to
tiny.
induce. Sam wants to induce.
raise us.
Yeah, you want to bet 10 here,
Yeah.
9, 5, some stupid number.
10%.
Yeah.
Like 4.5, 5,
Right. Okay.
6.
Yeah, I think there's a
and then
place
call
for
the
that.
shove. And then call the shove.
I don't think they're gonna shove this deep.
No, I'm saying if they do it, you call it. That's what you're doing this for.
Well, actually, I might fold to a shove, and if they raise to like 40, 50 big blinds, I might call.
Okay.
Because I would think if they shove, they might actually have it.
Okay. Good enough. He does the check. All right. Let's see what we can learn from this hand.
I think this hand is way too good to not value bet.
Oh yeah, I want to value bet it. Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to move. The only thing we're going to violate is we're going to move hero to the low jack, but hero has king, queen in the low jack. So everything is fine. All right. So that is where this solve goes out the window, and that's fine. So we are low jack button big blind. We are low jack button big blind. There we are. We are on a flop of the lovely Jack 9 of diamonds, 8 of hearts. Jack 9 of diamonds, 8 of hearts. Jack 9 of stop it. Jack 9 of diamonds, 8 of hearts. All right. So our first thing was we predicted no donks on this board, and I was wrong. We being me. 10% donks. And I'm putting the no donks at around the 5, 6, 7% level. That's what I call none. So this is some. So I don't think that this board donks in heads up. So would you give me low jack versus big blind, somebody, and just do it heads up and see if there are donks in this board? And what percentage there are? Thank you. I'm going to assign that to Larry because it's Larry's hand.
On this texture? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
on this this texture, just low jack versus big blind, straight up wizard stuff.
I don't think we're gonna get dunks in this texture.
I don't think so either. And we don't have a lot of donks here, but we do get some, and that surprises me. All right. Our guy had an ace 5 of diamonds, and that's going to be one of the donks. And he does it. So let's play it out as played. There's the donk. All right. Beautiful Scotty with the king queen does not fold to this. No king queens fold. No king queens fold. A little bit of folding from the combo without a diamond, right? Yeah. Without a diamond, you can do a little folding. Mostly you don't. I've got a queen of diamonds. I don't fold. I can even raise. Kind of nice to know that I can raise. It's not a majority thing. I didn't do it. And his bet was bigger than is allowed by the solver. He bets half pot and his bet is 25 on the solver. So that leads me to the bigger the bet, leads me to call less and raise more, but not this hand. This hand's
Do you want me to
still-
look at 9-handed or do you want me to look at six max?
I want to do 6 max because I want to compare the load. I want to compare the Prometheus output to that output, not the how this hand played out.
All right.
And as long as we're on that, let's do this once. I'm going to do this once in Prometheus. Hold on. While you do that, I just realized I bet Prometheus lets us do two-way. We've only used Prometheus for 3-way, but Prometheus is going to let me do this, right? Select the FUP cards. Jack 9-8, same sizes. Oh no, Prometheus is only a 3-way solver. Oh no, players 2. Nope, Prometheus is only a 3-way solver. I'm done. It's on you. Okay. So his bigger bet should lead me to raise more and call less, to VPIP lower, and of those VPIPs to raise more. But this king queen is so much in the heart of calling land. But even if I push my folds up, I'm going to fold the ones without a diamond more. I'm still never going to fold this one. And with a diamond, if it pushes my raises up, it pushes it up from this sliver to a bigger sliver. So I'm fine with a call. Queen Jack. This is not easy, this Queen Jack here. So I called. And here's our friend with his Queen Jack off suit that he should never be here with on the Queen Jack suited. He should always be here with. All right. There's our first interesting mistake. This is always good enough to raise. And against our opponents, I think this GTO answer is a good answer. I think this is better than the answer of calling, the one that we all talked about before, the Joey-ness of it.
So I was getting the other solve. So this was big blind EP button and button chose to bet small.
Button only can bet small. He bets, but he can only bet small.
And this is in position button.
Yeah, this is in position.
And it raises this hand.
He raises. He just raises.
Interesting. I
Right.
don't know.
Right, but notice Ace Jack doesn't. King Jack does some, with the,
Excuse
with
me.
the backdoor straight.
Sorry.
It
But-
really likes the fact that he has a pair and a draw.
Pair plus draw, the old school pair plus draw, go crazy.
Old school pair plus draw. Old school nuts.
So to answer your question, we do get about 10% of donks on this texture.
All right, there you go.
And it's in chat if you want to see it.
All right.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm doing it. Anyway,
So he calls, so this solve is gonna be sort of out the window. Cause he's never gonna get to the river this way.
there were no donks in the three-way, right?
There were 10%
Oh, there were.
three-way. I thought this hand didn't have donks and it does. And so it does. So the thing that, what we've learned is here, the, blinds have donks on the same type of flops they would heads up. We've now confirmed this on 2 boards, and we've confirmed also Scotty doesn't know which boards these are. And the answer was, this was a Jack 9 8 FD. Okay. So having said all that, we go back to here. This is going to go badly with this call because he's not going to get there with Queen Jack, so we'll never know. But we'll finish it out. Our turn is the Jack of something. Oh, the Jack of clubs, right? Because it double. The Jack of hearts. So during this Jack of hearts, the other thing we wanted to look at was it was a pre-flop thing we wanted to look at.
We wanted to see
the
what,
ace. You wanted to know when the ace 5 three-way. When does the ace 5 go for it? So
yeah,
let's
I can
do
look at
here.
that. Yeah.
So I was pure under the gun. Yeah, so this is me. Big blind, just the big blind alone against that.
You need to give button flat.
I'm going to. I'm just saying, without the button, we mix.
Yeah, makes
Okay.
sense.
With the button, similar. We just lose these.
You
Yep,
squeeze, it wants to squeeze to 14. Okay, that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, so you weren't sure, and it's good that you weren't sure because it mixes. So that was the right thought. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And now we're back to Prometheus. I am looking forward to the end of March Multi-May with Madness. This is so fucking hard. All right.
Yeah, these are not easy to understand.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get, but this, I'm trying to get some I'm trying to get this, that this is true. I'm trying to get some learning, some things to learn. All right. So, he's now on his ace 5. Can he continue against the 2 callers? He has to give up.
More
That's
like April multi-way madness.
Yeah, we're going to go into April. Yep. He didn't donk his backdoor, so he can't continue on the backdoor there. Let's go all the way up to the ace 10 where he has the ace 10. So here, this is the nice thing. So straight draw, flush draw comes in and he continues, but he backs off on the diamonds. So that leads a little bit to the thing where we said, continue when you get this extra equity and don't here. You kind of used up this one's juice. All right. But also this is a double draw. This is a
Yeah. Why are we looking at ace 10 and not ace 5? What was the reason?
Ace 5 never has the heart. He's not there. But let's look at the ace deuce and you'll see the ace deuce.
Well, what's with the heart? What's the problem?
He didn't bet his heart on the flop.
The ace 5 of diamonds had diamonds.
Right. No, what I meant was so this was the thing, Mike. When the heart came in, we said the ace 5 of diamonds doesn't continue bluffing. He gives up on his bluff after the 2 calls. And I said, yeah, but maybe the hearts continue the bluff. Maybe when you do the backdoor, you continue. So I wanted to look at that. He doesn't have ace 5 of hearts, so I couldn't know. But he does have ace 10 of hearts. And so I was able to go, well, so the theory that the diamond doesn't continue, but the hearts do continue is true with ace 10.
Yeah, except
all.
that the ace 10 has a draw, like another draw.
Yeah, right. I said, yeah, that was the thing I said, but it's also a combo draw. But you notice that the ace, this is also the same combo draw, right? And it doesn't continue. and this combo draw does. So that's all I meant. If we had ace five of hearts here, I would be looking to see if this were true with the ace five of hearts. We just don't have it. And the way we would look at this is we would look at it, we would look at it at the logic heads up where the ace five of hearts sometimes did bet. But we're here. Jack of hearts comes, he has to check. The king queen is not betting. That's what we thought. And now our jack, maybe we can get it to lie and give us an answer. Okay, so the queen jack that we never have, it doesn't want to bet it here. It bet all of them on the flop, but the sliver that it would have, it now wants to check behind. And I just think that's just, this isn't sensible. This is solver noise because we never have it. But here you go. A jack is now good enough to bet. And we take the weighted strategy off and you can see that. Notice one thing here. Notice how the display is wrong. We're going to send this mistake to Prometheus. Okay. Prometheus error. Size discrepancy. King jack suited. King jack suited. That's what we want to see. Okay. Good. We're going to send that to them. We're going to believe this version of it and not this version of it. So since the king jack bets so much, the queen jack is also going to be betting that we shouldn't have. The jack 10 doesn't. It's got that extra equity of the 10. So maybe the queen jack doesn't also. There's no way to know. Jack 9 is already a full house, so it's completely different. So your question as we go on is queen jack more like queen king or more like queen jack more like king jack or more like jack 10? And we move on. He bet it, and he bet it closer to this. Oh no, that's an over. No, he bet it closer to this. No over bets. No pot size bets like DTO wizard, but bigs and smalls and like that. So he bets. Now the king queen has got to. Oh, here we go. Ace five is the next one. Ace five of diamonds to the big size. Folds. He doesn't have the equity to continue against that size. That seems crazy. Oh, because he's against full houses. Yep. He's against full houses. So fold your ace five. Anybody here folding their ace five here? I wasn't. Anybody here think we should fold the ace fives now? I think we should.
You mean like in the big blind there, because they have the low jack left to act, so if they do like go over the top, we have to fold.
Yep, there's that.
Yep.
And there's boats, and we're drawing to a flush when there are boats out there, and we're paying a bunch for it, and we're out of position.
Yep.
Everything is bad. Fold. So, yeah, I think that this is, I don't think that there's anything about the way our opponents play that tell you this should be a call rather than a fold. I think it's actually more true the other way, that they don't have as many of the bluffs. For example, 9-8. You think anybody's betting do you think a lot of your people are continuing their 9-8 when this jack comes?
Never.
No, they're just cursing their luck and saying how unlucky they are and how unjust poker is.
No, they wouldn't be wrong.
Yes, that's true. That's accurate. We are wasting our time and our lives. We got that. Oh, hey, YouTube, like and subscribe. Anyway, I don't care if you like or subscribe. I do care if you comment, though. If you comment, we'll answer. All right, going back to here. So he needs to fold. He doesn't. All right. And oh, by the way, let's do the small size. To the small size, he doesn't fold, I bet. He folds to the small size. Okay, that I'm not doing. But the guy bet, but he took the big size. And even in the small size, of course, the king queen. If the ace five has to fold, of course, the king queen has to fold. That was easy. But he got the call, and we'll do the call off of the, again, we'll do the bigger size and the call. And now we'll see what we need on the river to be able to bet on a deuce of clubs river. Okay, he bet call, right? I did that right. Low jack. Dealer bets, big blind, calls, low jack folds. Here we go. Deuce of clubs. Big blind is first to act. He don't bluff. There are no bluffs. You can check raise bluff. You cannot check bluff. You cannot bet bluff. He checks. Is a jack good enough to bet? A full house is. Barely. Yeah, so there's your answer. Given this line, the jack is not good enough to bet.
Is a straight good enough?
Let's find out. The straight is going to be our queen 10. Yep. Straight's good enough to bet. But you don't have to. You know, you're not bluffing, but you're not super confident. And the other thing we wanted to see is what if this bet was smaller so we don't filter him as hard. If this bet is smaller, then is the jack good enough to bet? So we bet here. The big blind calls, he folds. We get the two of clubs. So this is where the big blind is less filtered. In this mode, the big blind does have bets. A straight for value. A 7-8 bluff. Full house. Misery. Full house. Full house. Straight. Just a jack. Bluff. Huge bluff. But you never have it. So let's look at that range again. Realistically. There you go. Realistically, your bluff is king 8 of diamonds. You just go, oh, well, I have all this value. So he goes there. There's the check. And against this check, is a jack good enough to bet? No, still not. All right. Those were all our questions on that hand, I believe. Yes. All right. Up next is, let's go back to Zoom and see who's here. All right. Adrian. Hello, Adrian. Adrian, if you would like to take a hand, if you've watched what we do, that's what we're going to do. You go just unmute yourself, talk, say hi, Adrian, if you'd like to do it. You don't have to, but you're welcome to. Hello, Adrian.
Hey man, this is me. I'm just on a different account on my phone.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's A plus. Hey, A plus. All right. You already did one, right?
No, I haven't done one.
Okay, this one's yours. All right. You have, I believe you have. We've done these three hands. We've done all three of these. All right. Next group of hands.
Yeah.
Let's get into the next group. The next group is, here we go. Whoops. Here we go. Let's start with the bottom. Here we go. This is going to be, why are you? Oh, we've done this one.
Yeah, we did that one.
We've done these. Okay, that's not what I want. I want this group of hands. These are our hands. Here we go. Starting with the ace eight. We have not done these hands yet. All right. Here we go.
We did the fours, didn't we? We did the fours. This is another fours hand.
This is a different force. It was my force. This
Yeah.
is somebody else's force. Let's watch them misplay it or play it better.
All right. Fold, raise.
Aha! Too early.
Too early. Yeah, that should be a fold.
Yep. that should be fair.
Wow, the king jack is so bad, but you're in cutoff. I don't know if I'm too tight by folding this king jack here.
I like the fold. Let's see in two versions of this. In the usual 2.5, your king queen is going to be doing a lot of three betting here. This is hijack versus cutoff. Hijack goes, you get your king queen here, you get your ace jack, you have a sliver of king jack, but this should be almost always folded, right?
Yeah, that's the
Now
fold,
let's look at this one. This is 6 max, only to 2, and this is the 1000 NL rake. So this is where you have the most calls possible. So let's see in this situation what you do. You still do. So this is a really good fold.
Still fold, yeah.
It's a really good fold. And of the things to do with it, this is the absolute worst thing to do. And up against our opponents, this is still the absolute worst thing to do. This is not good.
Just call, that's horrible.
Yeah, just fold. Fold or 3-bet. If you believe that this guy opens too wide, 3-bet him. Don't call. Okay, but he did.
The fours I'm gonna set mine with.
Hell yeah, let's set mine.
Let's set mine with. I mean, without those, the king jack and the 10 jack, I would raise it, of course. But without the 10 jack, the king, yeah, you raise it. Without the 10 jack, the king jack raises. But anyway, so you got to raise. I'm just gonna set mine here.
I like to set mine there. I love the set mine there. Let's take a look at this lovely thing. He should never call, but he does. And now we're on the button. Let's set mine fours. Yeah. Set mine fours. Let's set mine deuces. Let's play like Derek. Because they're going to give us their whole stack. All right. Flop.
This is why you don't play Jack 10.
That's great. So yeah, so what do you do with this Jack 10? I mean, you'd have to, you would check this Jack 10, I would assume, just to protect your checking range. I don't know that it doesn't have any value, even though you hit that Jack.
If I was heads up and I had Jack 10 suited here, I would check to protect my checking range.
Yeah, check.
Check
Or you could bet like super small, but
Yeah.
I would just check. I would just check that.
He checks.
King Jack, given how bad, I think he has to bet this here. Jack 3-8 is dry other than the hearts. I think he has to bet that back up because that has to be I think he has to bet that.
Can he try for check raise against a wide stabbing button? Is he good enough to? Is his hand good enough? This guy doesn't have queens, kings, or aces very often. He has some ace jack, but he raised some of it away. I think he could bet here or go for a check raise, but I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he should check call. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be betting here if I were him.
He takes the small bet. Good.
Takes the small bet.
Mhm.
The fours, I'm gonna fold the fours because I don't have the 4 hearts, so I'm just gonna fold the fours.
Yep. And even with the 4 of hearts, I'm going to fold here, but I like your thought of going without the 4 of hearts is an instant fold. With the 4 of hearts, I'm not closing the action and I'm folding. I'm in position. That's good. So if I hit my set, I can make the money, but I'm not closing the action. So I'm just going to fold.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
And then 10 Jack, you got to call here. If you're
Gotta
going
call.
to play it, you got to play it.
Gotta
Yeah,
call.
you gotta call.
Gotta hope for a 10. Gotta hope for a 9. Oh,
He raises. That's
that's
wrong.
wrong.
With the King Jack here, the only thing well, you losing the 8s and 3s. There is no Jack 8. There is no 3-8. Ace Jack maybe would check there. It'd be crazy for Ace Jack to check there. So,
Checking rate, A plus, I want to correct you there. It would be crazy for Ace Jack to check there unless he's the kind of guy who check raises. Once he check
Yes.
raises, Ace Jack goes back into his range.
Back in his range.
Yeah,
You
a
see-
lot of players are going to check range under the gun here, or the first player is
Yeah.
going to check range. They're going to have basically be uncapped.
Right. When the guy check calls here, the guy who checks calls here doesn't have Ace Jack because he would have bet Ace Jack. The guy who check raises checks his Ace Jack so he can check raise it. Now, go on. It's your hand. That's my only opinion that is different than yours.
So okay. So I'm just gonna call the King Jack here and see what this crazy person is doing.
Yep. Do you need a heart to call this?
No, I don't think you do.
Okay, but you certainly like having a heart.
Yeah, because it's blocking the flush.
Yeah, you like having a heart. And or it's either blocking his flush from getting there when he check raises you as a bluff, or it gets you or it saves your ass on the river. Like now.
Now, what does this poorly played 10 Jack do? So what would you, if I erase the fact that I know I have a 10 Jack, what would I be raising with? I'd be raising with hard draws. I'd be raising with Ace Jack. I'd be raising with 8s. This is almost like it's almost a bluff. I think he has to continue betting here. Which is
He did
very
pick up
strange.
equity.
Yeah,
He did pick up equity,
strange.
a 9.
I
You're
think he's
straight
going
draw
to
now.
continue betting. Yeah, I think he's going to continue betting. But in his mind, he also, because the King Jack, you would also be betting that Jack 3-8. You would also be betting some of your flush draws.
Yeah.
Back up from the King Jack position.
Right.
But from 10 Jack, I think he continues here. I think he continues here.
So one of the ways that I've asked this before is I've said, your friend is playing the hand, you walk in now, you're online where you're allowed to talk to him, and he goes, what do I do now? And you go, you shouldn't be here.
I would say
yeah, but I
check,
am.
yeah.
What do I do now? And I
would say check.
And I think that question is not very valuable because I think I'm going to let us get away with the I wouldn't be here situation because we don't need to learn to do what we're not going to be doing. So feel free to say what you think you should do, but I'm not going to push you on it.
If it were me, I would check.
Right.
This
I
guy
agree.
is wild. This guy's wild, so he's going to continue.
Yeah.
He's gonna,
And
he's gonna
I like to check though, because now the hand is clearly marginally made and
Yeah.
marginally made plus draw equals check. So
Yeah.
there we go. Oh, sorry.
Oh, he did check. Did he
He
check?
checked.
did check.
He checked. And now King Jack.
King Jack, with the heart, after he checked right.
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting.
Really?
That really is interesting. And he picks up equity here. Wow. Check is this is a crazy hand right here.
Yeah. When he bets here,
Check.
he's trying
Then
to
10
set
Jack
up
folds.
bluff. He's trying to set up to bluff Ace Jack off on the river. He's turning his Jack into a bluff here if he
Mhm.
bets this and the river. But he is getting value from lesser jacks that shouldn't have played this way. So this is a weird bet.
Yeah, that is strange. It should go check. If I'm 10 Jack here, weirdly enough, I fold. You gotta fold. I mean, what are you calling here for?
Yeah.
You're losing the better jacks. You're losing all your flushes. The straight doesn't matter.
You have outs against the Ace Jack of diamonds, which could be here like this, but yuck.
Mhm.
Yuck.
Then the 2, then check, check, and just
Yeah.
take your equity and leave, right?
Yeah,
Check,
check.
check.
Good. All right. Yep. Now, if the king jack had played it the way we thought he should, which is check the turn, I think he can bet the river.
Agreed.
I think he can bet thin for the thin value on the river instead of on the turn.
I'm all about thin value,
Yep.
overfold to aggression river strat.
Yep. And he is allowed to, it's like his hand is good enough for one street of value. So if he bets the turn, he has to check the river. And if he bets
Right.
and he checks the turn, he's allowed to bet the river. Seems like a good heuristic for this hand. All right. We're not solving this one. It's the wrong positions. Right? We're fucked pre-flop. Not only our range is fucked, but our positions are fucked. Okay. That was a plus. Up next is Mike.
We need a new hand.
Mike gets, oh, I might get to play this one. I have ace jack. I'm playing this.
Okay. Well, ace jack is the one who should be opening. All right, very nice. And it should fold to the big blind, but looks like 10 deuce is going to come along.
Right. And this play is, how would you describe this play?
What play?
This play right there?
His play? Like terrible.
Thank you. All right, going on.
Yeah. And then we can just call here. Don't think we ever need to squeeze. I think just calling is just fine.
I agree. We'll look at this. We're going to look at this. That's what we'll look at while it does its calculation. If we do it, I'm with you. What pair do you want to squeeze? What's your lowest squeezing pair?
I'd say probably nines. I bet you see some squeezing with some of these middle-ish pairs at a very low frequency, and I bet it starts increasing at around, like it starts stepping up at eights, nines, and then of course tens. I think is pure.
Yeah, I think sevens are going to have that funny sliver. Eights are going to have a decent sliver. Nines are going to have a decent sliver, and then tens, boom. That's going to be my prediction. We'll check that out. All right, here we go.
Okie dokie. So 10 deuce. This board here is in the donkable range of boards for
Yes, it
either
is.
blind.
Yes, it is.
And 10, let's figure his lowest 10x hand he should have is probably like 10-9, but
Yeah.
he should not donk, but I'm betting there's donks in the solver's strategy.
Yeah, I agree with you now.
Somebody that plays 10 deuce here might say, I've got top pair, let's go.
Okay.
An important thing to see here against top pair, for me at least, is how much equity hero has with a gutter and 2 overs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, that's one thing to take away when we're in this situation with a hand like what hero has.
Yeah. And when this guy folds his sixes, that equity is going to go to me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Most of it.
Let's see what he does. I don't think he should donk.
Yes. Okay, but I'm going to ask you one question here. So we know we believe there are donks on this board. What percent of range does this guy donk on this board?
I'm saying like 10%.
Okay, I'm with you on 10%. I'm going 9%. I think it's 9%. Because the other one was from the big blind, which hit it even more. I'm going 9%. We'll find out. All right. So he checks.
Okay, sixes. This is just I mean, the board probably gives him donks. Sixes I don't think should do it here.
I agree.
And then this is just going to be checked a massive amount by you, your range, and I think ace jack should check pure here.
This guy with his sixes, I think this guy's got 9% donks. I think this guy's got 10% donks. That's gonna be my guess. And I don't care if I'm right. And here, so this is an easy check for me, but I do have a gut shot and 2 overs. And I don't have a club, so I don't have the comfort of that. So
yeah, I think when we look at this, you're going to see checking across. I mean, you might be c betting 20% here.
okay, this board is so bad for me. All right,
That includes all your over pairs and I think it's going to favor things like if you had ace jack with a club, I think that's where it's going to start bringing in some bets and
Okay.
aces with a club, kings, jacks with a club.
Sounds good. Because I know how I play, I'm expecting to see a donk here. I'm expecting to see a continuation bet of 2.5. Let's see what we get. Check. I don't know how I play.
Okay. And betting might be okay. It might be better EV wise
Mhm.
versus our opponents than it is against the solver. We talk about this all the time.
Yes.
But yeah, so all right.
Bad
Two
play is
pair.
rewarded.
I mean, it's still a shitty two pair.
After check, check, is it a shitty two pair?
Versus solver ranges, I think it's still a shitty two pair, but not versus opponents.
Versus opponents, it's a great two
I
pair.
guarantee you this guy's gonna bet. Guaranteed. And
I
he
feel
goes,
like you can bet here because there's so much to get value from on a wet double pair board.
Yeah.
I could be wrong here, but
Double flush double board. Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
are you not, I'm sorry. Yeah, double flush draw. And also, yeah, Mike, are you not, you're not gonna have this combo. Let's say you had 10-7 suited in the big blind. Would you bet this? Would you value bet 10-7 suited here?
yeah, I think it depends on who's in the hand with me, like in their aggression and that sort of thing. But yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying 10 deuce is a bad bet. I'm just saying it's a shitty two pair.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No,
And
that
I
is
don't
true.
think, and
Yeah.
I don't think that when you bet and get called, you're loving life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're getting caught a lot on this call heavy board. I think you have to be very conscious of texture and how river changes texture.
Yeah. All right. With that bet,
Sixes should be, I would imagine, an easy fold.
easy fold. Yet the fact that he's got a straight draw is meaningless.
Yeah, and it's to the shit end. And ace jack. Yeah, I think you should just, to this size fold. I was just trying to
This size.
imagine if you ever call here, if it was to a reasonable bet, like a B25, which I think you'll see in the solver, he might get B25s on whatever his range is. And do we fold the gut shot to
I
that small size? I would say
have one reason why I would call here.
Mhm.
Actually, our suits are pretty good. So if he has bluffs like clubs or hearts, we don't block any of them.
Yep.
That's
And
the only.
oh, go on.
Yeah, that's actually the only reason, right?
Good.
If we have a jack of hearts or jack of clubs, but we don't block any of the bluffs he could have here.
Okay. That's an excellent point, and I'm going to predict the opposite. I'm going to predict that the only ace jack that calls here is the ace jack of heart and club, because that way your 3 outs of your aces and your 3 outs of your jacks are clean.
And you mean here, Scotty? Do you mean to this pot size bet?
No,
or do
no,
you
the
mean-
small size. The small
Okay.
size. Everybody folds to the big size. Everybody folds to the big size. All the gut shots and 2 overs fold here. But yeah, to the small size. That's what we're going to prediction. But I call because I play bad.
Well, look at our guy's stats with a decent amount of hands. This guy is in here with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he's playing every hand and he's playing super aggressive.
Yeah, and he's aggressive.
Yeah.
I'd say to this pot size bet, I'd still say it's a fold.
I agree. That's a bad play on my part. And now we go away. All right. So we're going to put me in the hijack with my ace jack instead of the cutoff, so that the hand can be played. Here we go. Prometheus. We're going to be hijack, small blind, big blind. There we go. And the flop is going to be the lovely 9-7 of clubs, 10 of hearts. And we see donks, 16%. You were more right than me. All right.
And this is, and I think it's because this small blind right here, like the middling ones are always
Yeah.
seem to be good for small blind.
Very good for,
And by middling, I mean like this 9, 7, 8, 10 range, as
Yes.
opposed to the 4, 5, 6 range,
mm-hmm.
right?
Which is good for the big blind. The 4, 5, 6 range is good for the big blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, and in the wild, this is not the small blind range we see. The small blind range we see is much more like this. Let me just put a check in here. This is the small blind range we see. Much more like this. All right, going back. So on this one, the tens mix, the worst 10 that he has is the Jack 10, and it's a straight draw also and all kinds of things. So
And can you check the EV of 10 deuce? That's a joke, Scotty.
I was checking to see if it gave us it gave us a number. It doesn't. We don't even get 0.
No, I know.
Yes. There we go. Okay. So he checks. That seems reasonable. Lots of betting from the big blind. 13. I put this at 10. There we go. Lots of 10s bet. So here's a 10 deuce. And that is the EV of 10 deuce. All right, good. So he's going to check lots of his 10s and bet the and bet the decent ones at a reasonable clip, but even then, not the majority. Across all suits, they all play. And he, with his pocket 6s, does not try. So we get check, check, check. I have ace. Oh no, after the check, check, do I bluff my ace jack? Ace jack offsuit. That's me.
I was wrong on the frequency. I thought it was much lower than this.
Yeah, 50% bets.
50, and I was thinking more like 20.
Yep. Ace jack with a club, go for it with the ace of clubs. So we start with that. Do it sometimes with a jack of clubs, but go for it with the ace of clubs. That's just enough. Gut shot, ace of clubs, 2 overs, go for it. Diamond spade. You can. Majority don't. We didn't. There's our 2 of hearts. All right. Here comes the check around. Here's the 2 of hearts. While it's doing the 2 of hearts, what was the thing we wanted to look at? You wanted to look at how often do 6s squeeze pre-flop in this configuration. All right. So that's going to be here in the beautiful 2.5 wizard. Hijack, cutoff raises, sorry. Cutoff raises, small blind, takes his very small calling range and calls. And the big blind, I got to move you guys out of the way, never folds a pair. The gamesmanship does start at 6s, but you could turn all these into calls and that would be just fine. And the main thing that we said was 9s kinda, and then this. So really good on that. I put the 6 nonsense into 7 there by accident, and the difference between 6s and 7s here is going to be something to do with blocking somebody's the bottom of somebody's opening range where you want them to be there.
And stay here before you go away from wizard.
Yes.
And make the call from the button and see what squeezes in the big blind.
All right. Big blind. Big blind can still play set mine. Big blind can still get out of my way. Real similar. Real similar on the pairs. Nines do it less, so we have less of it along here. Okay. Now back to the Prometheus. The deuce is there. Our small blind can now bet tens freely and check. This is check to protect the checking range. This is a good hand here. You're not afraid of straights with this hand. This is a good hand. This is a good hand. So we can bet some tens, and we do not bet all our two pairs. Therefore, we do not have to bet all the 10 deuce.
I would have bet 10-10 is anticipating. I wonder if there's a check raise this, on this texture multi-line.
I think even with a straight out there, you do it, and especially on this board, I want to do it. All right. So our small blind bet, and he bet pot. That is what happened. So sixes, of course, have to fold, as we said, and ace jack has to fold. Of course. Now let's make it the small size. Instead, he bets small. Sixes still has to fold. Ace jack. It's just enough. But with the folds, the thing I said was, I said that the club heart version was the one that continued the most. And I was wronger than you could be wrong.
Mm.
And the person who was right was, I believe, A+ was the one I think who said it.
Well, your club heart of the other, switch it around, ace jack club heart is pure.
Oh,
bottom.
okay, that's funny.
So that's right at this point, right? Because here it's switch around, and on the flop it's different.
All right. So from this, I'm going to learn nothing. Because the difference between the ace of clubs, jack of hearts, and the ace of jack, ace of hearts, ace of hearts, jack of clubs. I admit there is something there, but when I figure out what it is on this one hand, it might be specialized to this board with this draw with these things.
Yeah, I think it'd be easy to figure it out because it's the backdoor ace of hearts blocker.
Yeah,
The only thing I would get out of that one is that you can be more aggressive on the flop with an ace of clubs or with an ace of hearts. And you should, if you take a passive line, you're done.
Right.
That's all.
Yep. I'm good with that. But the main thing is that ace jack is enough to call.
Yes.
Ace jack is enough to call to the small size and not to the big size. So ace jack being enough to call, I made I stretched it out to the big size because of who the player was, and that was still a mistake. To that size, that was, not great. Okay. That was Mike. All right. Is there anyone here who has not gone yet? Let's take a look. All right. Larry, Scotty, Mike, Sam, 2 mics. Bub, Skate went. Everybody's gone, right? Did Skate go? Skate went. I don't remember. Skate, have you had a hand yet? Ask.
Don't
I don't
think
have to ask.
so.
It's written down. Skate's up.
All right,
All right, I give you this, Skate.
all right.
I have notes.
Good hand. Aces, kings,
I'll let you know.
queens, or
Something. Well, I'm going to have king 4. Let's see if somebody else has something better. Here we go. All right, this is your hand.
all
we
right.
got more pocket sixes.
Yeah, I guess we could open the sixes here. Ace 10. Too weak to 3-bet against an EP open, so fold. Around to the, where's the big blind? Okay, there it is. Yeah, so after that, should fold around to the king deuce.
Okay. So, little correction here. To this early position open, the ace 10 mixes. So you can 3-bet it if you want in the standard 3-bet or fold world. So just showing you that it, if you fold it, you're fine.
Oh, because of the blockers, the ace and the king blocker.
And it's good. It's a good hand. It's ace 10. It's Broadway. It's suited ace. It's a good hand.
Okay.
Raises a bunch of kings. You're ahead of some stuff. It's a good hand.
Yeah. So
Called. You get called. You have an ace 10 suited in position. It's a good hand.
so that shouldn't scare me, right? That 0 with that mixing fold.
No, you can, but you also don't have to play it. You don't have to. I'm just saying it's there.
Okay.
So-
If you wanted to play it, it's not going to be like egregious.
Right. And in the world where you have a calling range, this is the thing is if you're playing a strategy with a calling range, then you can absolutely call it. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Does this have a strategy plus EV? Yes, it does. Oh no, EV equity. No, we have nothing. We can't give it won't show us till the flop. So okay.
What are one of the disadvantages of flatting too much that maybe the blinds somewhere are gonna squeeze and see those stats? Like, do you guys
That's the most
flat?
important.
What do you guys do in your games, and what should I avoid? Flatting.
Everybody answer this question. What do you think you should do? But answer what you actually do. Let's be honest.
So this early ace 10 is a really, really tough. It's really tough to know what to do. And I think I would not flat it this early. And we can't fold it. So it's a very uncomfortable 3-bet.
Okay.
So if I'm playing live, the question is if I'm playing live and someone opens to 6, am I gonna put in $20 here with ace 10? It is it's yes, and it's uncomfortable as fuck.
I've been experimenting with limping.
Limping. Okay.
But you can't, are we talking about 6s or ace 10?
The ace 10.
Yeah,
We're talking
ace
about the
10.
ace 10.
Ace 10,
Yeah,
I'm
ace 10.
gonna, yeah, it's a very uncomfortable 3-bet, but we
And
gotta
I
take
don't
it.
play it this
And
way. Oh, go on.
but maybe that's a mistake too, because we're gonna get flats behind. People don't give a fuck. They're gonna flat and want to see a flop.
So I've been online where it's easy to have stats and you get a lot of hands in, and so you very quickly get a position. You see how often the table is 3-betting. On the tables where there are no 3-bets, I'm happy to flat the ace 10 here, and I'm happy to flat the pocket 8s and pocket 9s here. On the tables that have 3-bets, I'm 3-betting the ace 10 suited here. And anytime, this is online, and anytime I'm trying to play the 3-bet or full, I'm trying to increase my 3-bet frequency, I'll take this ace 10 suited 100% of the time. Live in my pool, in the live game, I'm 3-betting this.
Right. So that's what you would consider like an exploit, right? So like the only thing you got to be careful when you're doing that is being counter exploited, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And because at my table, there are no, I don't see the 4-bet bluff coming. It's just not there. If I get 4-bet, I'm folding. And I'm getting and my 3-bets are getting a lot of folds, and they're getting me heads up a lot. And I'm playing relatively tight compared to these because the open ranges they're doing 3 big blind and 4 big blind opens. So
Yeah.
I'm pulling out more of my calls because of that and doing more of the 3-bets. So
Okay.
One way to look at this is that really ultimately, when playing live, I would say the majority of the people on this call are probably going to be more skilled at the table than their opponents. And what you want to do is you want to play good hands in position. And you want to play it heads up. That's the big thing.
Yep. And this is a good hand, and I'll be in position and I'll be heads up. And this guy here in my live game is not responding enough to his position. He is not tight enough in early position. His early position range is similar to his mid position range. So I don't have to worry about that. That's my
Okay.
expert.
Yeah,
That
agreed.
makes ace 10 even more of a reasonable 3-bet. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So, but if you fold it, it is, GTO, it's 0 EV. So if you fold it here, that's okay. And again, if for the first month you want to keep yourself out of trouble and just always be in there with the best hand, pre-flop to start with, fine. You're leaving some money on the table that you'll pick up next month.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Kind of.
And you'll have a comfort level. And I'll tell you this, when I first sat down to play live again, after playing a ton of live limit poker in my life, so much of that, and playing a bunch of no limit online. And I sat down those first weeks live, and my hands were shaking, and I was just totally uncomfortable. I was folding this.
By the way, I'm gonna be playing strictly online for now.
Okay. Oh, in that case, yeah. In that
I was
case,
gonna tell you, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Scotty.
oh, just saying, in that case, yeah. Do you have a HUD?
Yes.
Okay, make your decision. Make your decision based on the HUD stats of the players to come, on whether you believe they're 3-betters or not. If they're not 3-betters at the table, do some calling of this ace-10 suited here. If they're 3-betters at the table, do some folding and raising. Now, Larry, you were
Okay.
saying.
Yeah, I know you're gonna play on ACR. You might want to check out ACR is fine, but the pool is tougher. You might want to check out Global Poker.
Right. I
Right,
was
the
thinking
pool
about
is-
that.
The pool is just softer.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a global account at some point soon.
It's just like the money thing is like it's not complicated, right? It's just like play money, but then it transformed into
No,
no
it's
money
not
or
complicated.
okay.
I won't waste everybody's time, but it's
Yeah.
just I'll explain it to you. Just text me on Discord.
That's a really, really good idea. Thank you.
Yep. So
Yeah.
he calls the ace-10 suited here. And the bigger the rake, the worse the call is also. The bigger the rake relative to the hands and like that going on. All right, there we
Oh,
go.
So
He
the
called
call there would okay, so call is maybe not a mistake either either, right?
Yep.
All right. Um all right, it's gonna should fold around to the king deuce. For this size, even a hand as strong as king deuce suited against 2 players. Let's see here. Let's think, brain. Probably a fold. I think our threshold is probably
Yay!
gonna want to be, yeah.
That is a good fold. That is such a good fold, I say. Let's find out how right we are. So
Right.
in the wizard, this was this guy, and if without a call here, the king deuce is a fold to that early. Right? So
Even to that early.
yeah, the earlier he is, the tighter we go. The fact that this guy's early, he's got at this range. King deuce does not like this range. It's money. When the call comes in, with any call there, the big blind gets even tighter along this ridge. So it's terrible, right? Now, this is 2.5 there. In a game in a no rake game, we get the raise and we get the call here. And this raise, yeah, this is the 8-handed. 1, 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is in this position. There's our raise. And let me get this. I did it wrong in this one, by the way. I showed you the wrong one.
Right.
This is the guy who raised. Still, it's still gonna be a fold. King deuce is still a fold. All right. Now,
Good.
when this guy
Good
raises,
fold.
yep.
So Scotty, even though in real life the players are not opening as wide, still we don't want to be playing hands as wide as king deuce suited.
No.
Okay.
This is just I mean, this guy here fucks you so hard, his range. So you see here, we're still not playing these shitty kings, right?
Yeah.
Big blind against low jack -1.
Yeah, like so
But
even
we're playing a lot of aces, right?
even though
When
you're
this
gonna
guy
hit
comes in- Oh,
sorry.
go on.
No, sorry, yeah, so like even though like I'm just trying to think like to myself like to avoid being a donk. So even though you're gonna hit once in a while, it's gonna be unprofitable in the long run is what Solver's trying to tell us.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, your aces start to thin out when this guy calls. Because and here's the thing about the king deuce. And this is especially multi-way. When you hit a king, you lose, right? Because you have the worst king. When you hit a deuce, you lose, because because it's the worst pair.
Yep.
And when you hit a flush, sometimes you lose all your money.
Yes. Hmm.
So this is just, yeah, so this is garbage. And when you're playing against the button's range is so wide that he's got a lot of folds. So here we go. We're going to play all this stuff against the button because he's in with all, he's super wide. But watch this, when the button comes in and the small blind calls, we start to lose some of this stuff. King deuce is still there. Cut off and the button calls and the king deuce is gone. Even this late. That's how bad king deuce is.
Okay, and what about, like, for example, that king six that has a sliver fold? Like, what do you do in real life? Should that be a fold or call, or is it like indifferent?
So I wouldn't know this range in real life if, if the cutoff raises and the button calls, and this is real life, I would not know that this king six does this. I don't have this range memorized. I would instinctively play all of my suited aces. I'm trying not to look at the range here. I would go down, I would have absolutely not fold a king 10 suited here. I would think about king 9 suited and think, do I need to 3-bet this because it's so bad? So that's what I would think. Now I'm going to look at the range. So I'm too tight here. Now that I look at it, I would like to make this adjustment, but I'm not going to pick up this king 6 and this king 4. I'm going to lose all this.
Okay, I see what you mean. So you could have
I'm gonna
called
fold
more
it.
that king 9 and maybe king 8, but like any worse than that is going to be not
Fold
good.
all- I'm going to fold all this. I'm going to call all this pure here. I'm not going to pick up these bluffs. I'm going to learn this and raise all of this. I'm probably going to raise these pure.
It kind of makes more sense. Like, so you could sort of, so to speak, take out like those marginal mixing. You could take those out of your whole strategy and put those a little bit more into the better ones that are
Yeah.
not
I
sure.
would take all this out and just fill in these ones that are 90, make them 100 by filling in that stuff. Lose this one entirely, stick it in king jack, call your king jack pure,
Mm.
like that. I might be folding this king jack, by the way, live. I'm probably folding this king jack live when I just see it. Just a little bit of
I
discipline.
hate
Right.
king jack off.
But the other difference is this. If this button is somebody who just calls all the time, then I'm going to add my king jack in and I'm going to do some raising of it because this cutoff has some bluffs and this guy's range is garbage. So I just forget by him. So those are some of my thoughts.
Yep.
And I am not the authority. I'm just the guy who paid for Zoom. All right. This king deuce calls. He calls. And we go to a flop.
Okay, finally,
Once again, bad play is rewarded as usual.
Yep. I imagine in this three-way configuration, they're gonna check,
Mhm.
and the 6 here, the one who originally opened, since there's of course 3 over cards multi-way. We're gonna definitely check. If it was heads up, we could consider betting.
I agree with you. This is such a bad bet. This is such a bad bet. And it's too big. Everything about this bet is bad. I hope he loses his stack. All right.
Yep.
But he does it. So I agree with you. You're right. This happens. Here you are, ace 10 facing it.
Ace 10 to the size, facing against another opponent out of position. Even then, this is interesting here.
Yeah.
This probably comes up a lot. So, are we getting the odds to call to see our implied odds by the river? Maybe not, because if we do call here, we don't know what villain 69 is going to do. So, therefore, I fold.
Okay. Those are all good. Those are all good things, but it's really cuspy. It's really cuspy. And I'm going to call it and probably be wrong. And if I'm in villain 69's position, if I was closing the action, like if villain 69 opened and then this guy folded, if I was closing the action, I would always call this. And it's the fact that this guy's behind means maybe we have to fold it. But we have direct outs to the nuts, uncounterfeited outs to the nuts, and the backdoor flush and the overcard.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a good spot for us multi-way to just look at pot odds versus equity.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is where Joey would yell at me and say, well, pot odds don't matter as much because this is flop, but I think it does matter. I think he was incorrect about that.
Okay, so
It's our best measure. And so if you look at it, you know, our pot odds are 29%, our equity in this hand is 31. We are probably going to want to call. And also we're in position. So if we have some bluffs here, which we do, especially with the back door, I think we call.
Okay. Yeah. But it's a big bet
It is a big bet multi-way.
and we're not closing the action. So that certainly tempers your call, right? You're not
Agreed.
right. And Skate is going on the side of folding, and I don't think he's wrong. And I think I would make the opposite decision, but this is ugly. against
yeah.
this.
So
Folds. Oh my God. Oh my. Why are you playing King Deuce if you're folding when you flop top pair?
wow.
What were you playing it for? Just for the flush? Oy. Oy. All right.
So like these numbers are being accounted for the number of players in the hand and all that, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
for seeing the hands. It's not accounting for the cards that were folded. It's not paying attention to this. Like it's not saying that like one of my outs, I need a. You think it is?
No, he was just yawning.
Oh, it was just yawning.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Good.
sorry.
that's okay. Okay. And let's see. Can we do anything to solve? The only way to solve this is to put him on the button, but it's still we'll get to see at least what the ace 10 does. And I don't think he has that big bet.
Okay, so Scotty, like realistically, are you guys ever solving this on your own, like at the table, like doing the pot odds?
No,
No.
no, absolutely not. I'm not near good enough to do that. And I wouldn't know how to do it. And if I could do it, I don't even know if it's my right choice. I am at the table looking at villain 69 physically to see how interested he is in the flop. I'm trying to get a tell, not off of villain 70, but villain 69. So when I've got another player to act after me, I'm looking at him because this guy will often give a completely honest tell, which is the one that I don't care what happens in this hand because I'm folding. And when he's folding, he doesn't care if he gives off that fold tell because he loses no money. He costs villain 70 money by giving off that tell. And I'm trying to do that in every hand that I'm not in. I'm trying to look at people and get a tell of, can I tell when they have checked out of their hand and do they broadcast that tell? By broadcast, I mean, do they lie? Do they have the nuts and look away and watch TV so that people will not know? Are they bothering to do that? And generally, I find that the fold tell is quite honest, and the people who are faking it, you will find out very early, and you'll find out in hands that you're not in. So that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at this guy first. Then I'm thinking about what's going on with my hand.
Hey,
I'm not.
is there anything unethical? I've seen this, the very little that I've played live. Do you ever see this unethical move of that person telegraphing that, hey, I'm about to fold, so that you see it, so that you can like maybe make a call, and because he wants to like see cards? Do you know
Yes,
what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, but it's nothing that you would ever be busted on. It is. So let me think. How unethical is it?
Well,
You
it's
could
very
argue it's an
unethical.
angle, but I don't
It's
think
a
it's
weird
I mean,
angle.
saying it's unethical, sounds more like gamemanship to me, not metagame to me. It's not unethical. Like if you're like holding your cards like you're gonna fold, I don't think it's unethical. That's just part of the live game.
Yeah,
Okay, semantics, I guess. I've
Yeah,
figured
I-
angles are kind of considered kind of unethical.
yeah. It's.
Yeah, it's not something you're gonna really easily find. I've only seen it probably like
I mean,
a few
deception
times.
is a inherent part of the game.
Yes, but it's a weird kind of angle in that it's an angle that you're not trying to get an advantage of. You're trying to speed up the game. You're trying to make it easier for people. I don't know, but people do it. There is no doubt that there are examples where villain 69 has made it clear that he is done with this hand once this guy bets.
And the purpose that I've seen is so that you have an easier decision.
That might be. I haven't seen that so much as just he doesn't care. but maybe.
Usually
Um,
just he's not thinking about
Yeah, so I guess
multi-way turn.
I think it's unethical. Yeah, I think it's a little, I would, so here's a better answer. If it were me, I would try to never do it. So there's your answer. I would try to never do that.
It's I don't do it. It's pretty I'm not gonna call it unethical though, but like if I had like a set in big blind and I was holding my hands like I'm holding my cards like I was gonna fold. It's an angle, but
Oh, that's an angle. Mike's asking a different question.
oh, sorry.
Mike's asking the question, when you are here with the 6-7 of spades, I'm sorry, when you are here with a 5-4 of spades,
In the big
and you
blind?
check, yeah, in the big blind, and you check and he bets, and you are done with a fucking hand. And you go to look on the food on the menu, or look at your phone early, or go back to the TV, or go back to your conversation, and you are ignoring your hand because you don't care what happens. You're done
Scotty,
with
that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying
I'm saying his intent is to
Is to
show
get-
you that he is no longer going to be in the hand.
I'm
His
gonna fold.
intent is that you see, hey, I'm
Right.
folding.
Right.
So
So he
you
holds
go
his hand
ahead
up- he
and
holds
you
his hand up
call with
high.
a questionable hand because I want to see what this villain 670 is doing.
Right. So I think that is I think that is an angle, but I think it is
course it is.
so low on our list of angles as to be ignored. So that's my answer is
That's
yeah,
not. I wouldn't call that unethical. That's not
Okay.
unethical.
Yeah.
That's just that's just. There's some people that like if you
Yeah.
look at Zachary Elwood stuff that are very good at reading people, and you have to turn that on them.
And by the way,
strategy.
Larry, I'm sorry, Mike, you were clear about what you said and I misstated it and I apologize for Mike explaining you.
Mike explaining.
Scotty explaining. Oh, Scotty explaining.
New term.
So now let's see in this setup here, we have King of Clubs, Queen of Diamonds, 8 of Hearts. King of Clubs, Queen of Diamonds, 8 of Hearts. We get the check from the King. Oh, and by the way, this guy skates, so you know how bad or good it is. This guy does have King Deuce suited here because this raise was to only 2 big blinds in this one, and it was from the low jack, not from low jack -1. So that gives you an idea of how terrible the King Deuce is. It isn't, and he also folds it sometimes. So there you go. To make life more complicated. He checks his King Deuce, which I love that he has it because we get to see if he folds it instantly. This guy has a big bet. Yay. He makes the bigger bet. Ace 10 of clubs. Never folds. Never folds to this size. And this is the relative size. Okay. So.
Well, does it show the like EV or anything like that, like in GTO?
EV of calling is 0.4 chips. That's a lot. And the ace 10 of diamonds is much better.
Right, but we're at the club, right?
We're at the club. The ace 10 the club is actually the worst. No, sorry. The club is good.
Doesn't matter. I mean, well, they're all the
spades. The spades are bad if you don't have the flush draw to go with it. So this is how much your backdoor flush adds to it. A lot. This is good. So yeah, all the backdoor flushes continue. And you have some raising with them too.
Yeah, so this size is just enough that we could call. Maybe any larger or much larger, of course, then maybe we start folding.
And now let's look at the range that he's supposed to do this with. Oh my God. Sixes get in there and bet. Holy shit. The man has a solver. 6 of clubs, 6 of diamonds. But this one never does it. Okay, he's not cheating. The man doesn't have a solver. I'm shocked. I'm just shocked at this bet. But okay, and then the 3s do it all the time. Your 3s and 2s just go, I can't win any other way. Let's take our shot.
This is
So
why
he does it.
I play 2s.
You do.
You think?
And here's the guy betting the 6s, and my ace 10 does not fold. So he bets big. Ace 10 does not fold, but having folded, the King Deuce suited. Oh, sorry, that's the big blind. Wrong. Wrong. Check. This guy bets big. Ace jack suited on the button, does not fold, no folds with ace jack. No folds with ace 10. Same thing. All right. And having folded, we come along to our king deuce. No folds of king deuce. You didn't call to fold a king.
Yeah, that was
Common
quite
folding of
nitty.
king 9. That's funny. King deuce calls, king 9 folds. All right. That's the hand. And we are back to me, and I'm going to skip my hand because I've been talking enough and go to Bub.
All right, let's go.
Guys,
wait a
I'm
minute.
gonna take
You know what
off.
we're gonna do?
I'm gonna,
We're gonna be done.
Are you around next week?
Yeah. Okay. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna stop here because it's 12 because everybody's gone once, and that's how long it takes to go multi-way. We get through 6.
Oh, man, it's like I'm the guy breaking the table.
You are, but I just saw that it was
It's
12.
horrible.
It's time to
Okay.
do it. Okay.
There you go, Larry.
Let me stop.
Oh, man.
And then we'll talk about next week. Okay.